And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Roger, roll, Atlantic. Doubling up.
Did he just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equalize.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome everybody, another exciting day at Starbase as we look forward to the Flight 12 vehicles now stacked. Booster 19 and Ship 39 are together on Pad 2. And this is the big test. This is the big integrated stack test called the WDR, which stands for Wet Dress Rehearsal. And that is where they will literally do as it says. They will fill the vehicle. They will take it all down the way to countdown. The one thing they won't do, and we don't want to see, is light the engines. That's something we're not going to be doing today because it is just like for the controllers and for the vehicle and for the pad systems, a complete dress rehearsal of what launch day will be like. So this is always fun. No static fire, but it's still fun. To talk about this, we're joined by Alex. Hello, Alex.
Hello, Chris. Yeah, hopefully we get a fully frosted stack today.
Indeed. We've also got Roger. Hello, Roger.
Hey, Chris. Wonderful looking rocket you got there.
And we've got Ryan Webber. Hello, Ryan.
Hi, it's me again. Hi, everyone. Yeah, it's been around here a lot, but I am so glad to be here on a Wet Dress Rehearsal stream. I get to do something that we don't often get to do, or should I say I've been doing a lot lately, which is paying attention to all the different vents, how this tank farm works, all the different timings, and now we get to do it with both sides of the tank farm, ship and booster. I cannot wait to figure this all out. It's going to be a blast. I can't wait to see a fully frosty rocket. And we're pushing towards Flight 12. This is awesome. It looks weird to see. This isn't the right spot for a full stack. What? It's a weird location.
Well, I was fine, Ryan, with the look of Pad 2 and its chopsticks. Nothing was looking out of place to me until you mentioned the fact these are now stubby chopsticks, and now I can't unsee the stubby chopsticks. They do look stubby. Now they do, really do. But it was also interesting to see at the actual start of this preparation for the Wet Dress Rehearsal, they were doing quite a lot of work on the ship quick disconnect. Was anything, do you think, amiss, or was it just first-time operations?
What they probably did is they probably did a pressure test on some of the lines up there with the ship attached, and they might have seen there might have been a leak here and there. They had to go maybe tighten some bolts or maybe adjust something really quick. Either way, whatever it was, it didn't really take them that long to figure that one out. They solved it pretty quickly and went and closed the road. I think it was around 4:30 or so is when they closed the road. And they actually have two road closures, and this is kind of the one thing we'll get into because this is why we know basically it's a wet dress rehearsal. There's a few signs. So one, there's the road closure where it normally is just beyond LBJ, and that is where they normally close the road for any testing at the launch site, anything along those lines. So that's the main closure to prevent anyone from getting to the launch site. Then what is done on launch days, so they're on the right side is your normal closure, and on the left is at Richardson. This is right around our river site. This is between the production site and Massey's. This is the hard closure checkpoint for, say, launch day, as well as wet dress rehearsals and stuff like that. And then, of course, for stuff like this, there's a soft closure checkpoint way back where Highway 4 begins as kind of like its own road. It's even before the Port Connector Road. It's into Brownsville. It's to prevent anyone from even getting towards Starbase at all. So with that closure there, they are definitely planning on putting a ton of propellant into this thing. They're gonna want to fill it all the way. And then, of course, on top of that, there's even a Coast Guard boat out beyond the coast. So they're definitely pushing towards a wet dress rehearsal today. All the signs point to that. We've got a full stack, and I can't wait to see it.
Yep, super excited. I do love the look of this vehicle. I did like it before, but I like it even more now as the Block 3 or V3. Both work, by the way. It doesn't matter if you call it V3 or Block 3, both work. It is the Block 3 version of the vehicle, which has the integrated hot stage as well. Everything just adds to it. The TPS looks a lot better. It's on pad 2, which I've always gone on to Roger about how it's such a great looking pad compared to the first pad I've ever used. So this is something we're going to see as a template. This is what's fascinating. I think Ryan alluded to it. We're going to learn a lot from these kind of tests on the way they prop load and things like that on the full stack. And also, this template of pad 2 will be utilized not only at pad 1 eventually, which is what they're working on right now, to renovate it into what pad 2 looks like, but also at 39A, at KSC, at 37 on the Cape. And the other pads they may even come up with. You never know. We're all still holding out for LC50. That's just me, though. The old dream of 8 pads there, because that was a kind of like thing they went through in environmental study with NASA, but they kind of stalled. And that's where LC37 came from, because they kind of thought, well, we're not going to wait forever for an environmental study. Let's go for the vacated ULA pad. I want to thank people, by the way, because you can ask a question. It could be your first time here. All you got to do is be subscribed to the channel, which is free. That allows you into chat. This is the way YouTube works these days. Don't just let anyone just randomly post in chat. You've got to be a subscriber to the channel at least. That is free, of course. And by the way, I always like the streams. That's free as well. It does help us on the algorithm, and it helps us on basically rise up against all these AI slop videos and these crypto scams with Elon talking from a speech from 3 years ago. And it's nothing to do with what the title says, which will be like Starship testing. No, it's not. It's a scam. So like the videos. All us original content providers, not just us, but anyone who does original content, make sure you like a video. It takes you half a second to do, and it just helps us all fight this battle against the AI slop things that's going on right now. But you can also...
And we're going to do an oop 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 on you, Chris.
Oh, do it. But please, by all means, because I'll go forever.
It looks like we've got the start of, I think, just barely the start of the methane reclaim vent, because just as we were going live, the methane supply line started to get frosty. And I think there it is. The methane reclaim vent is just starting. So just to tell you guys here, the methane reclaim vent is this one right there. Let's see if it comes through here on the stream here. See if the telestrator is working. There it goes. It's a little bit late. Maybe I need to reload it at some point. But that's your methane reclaim vent. That's what we're looking at right there. And then this is your box fan right there. Right here is your ship CH4 subcoolers, and it's kind of hard to see, but right around there, that third circle in the middle there, that is your booster subcooler chill down vent. So we're going to have all 3 vents going when prop load really goes. When you see that big vent right there, the one that's currently circled, there's actually 3 separate exhausts in there. So there's 2 separate exhausts for the booster side, and then there's 1 exhaust for the ship side. So all this other testing that we've been witnessing and we've been looking at has all been, booster side. Now we get to see ship side, and in fact, the ship methane subcooler is going kind of nuts right now. It looks like they're trying to get some stuff chilled down right there, but that's basically what we're looking at right now. Everything's in chill down. With that methane reclaim vent kind of going right now, I would give us about an hour and a half for a T0. So we should start seeing prop load. Now, here's going to be the interesting part. I think we'll see prop load on booster first at about like 850, 855, and then ship could be like 10 minutes later. So maybe like 9:05, 9:10. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what the actual load. And then another vent that's going to appear at some point is it's kind of hard to see it here. It's right around there. It's your tower vent. That's going to activate at some point to chill down the tower systems, everything like that. So we're going to have to watch for when that starts as well. But we're well into chill down here, and we're just kind of watching and waiting for newer vents to pop up because they've never fully loaded both vehicles on this pad before, so it's going to be a learning experience for everyone.
Two things, Ryan. One, you've got a telestrator.
Yes, I do. I set it up with Jay.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't ask Jay to do it because it's so loud it breaks people's ears, but that's almost breaking news stinger time. I mean, really, that is impressive. I didn't know. I knew Alex got one, but I didn't know you got one. I want one now. That's not fair. I don't know.
It's not fair.
It's not fair.
You're going to draw a
I want
giraffe?
to draw on the screen.
You can draw a giraffe? Chris, is that what you're going to do?
Well, my Commodore 64 I don't think works with light pens.
He will draw a horse.
Oh,
yeah, I would probably draw a horse. Yeah,
That's
I
true,
probably
of
would.
course. Yeah, of course.
But as I was mentioning, you can ask questions. It could be your first time here. Doesn't matter if the question is like, what does Starship do? That is completely fine. If there's some youngster who's like just got into rockets and just went onto a YouTube channel like ours and asked that question, I guarantee you we would not poo-poo it and say, nah, I'm not answering that. It's too simple. It'd actually be a joy to answer it because the chances of that youngster getting into rockets and then in like 5 years' time having his own channel maybe, it really is something you ever see that in chat? Sounds weird saying that, but if you ever see a youngster asking a real simple question, just go out of your way to answer him because you never know. You might be encouraging the next Tim Dodd or someone. You could easily be doing that. And I really do mean that. I'm not being funny at all. I'm genuinely mean that. Also, you can also ask a question via actually getting stuff from our store, which ironically is going crazy because guess what? Yesterday we revealed the Flight 12 patch because we went to full stack. When we go to full stack, we always reveal our next patch. So I'm going to display these because so many people have got it just as we were talking. So here we go. You'll see it in the corner on the top right hand side, but Jay may be able to, after this little nice little tilt up the rocket. I see, I'm not saying pan anymore. Jack could shout at me. The tilt up the rocket, we could show it actually bigger on screen rather than the little small one on the right hand side here.
Engines.
You can see the engines through this. Yeah, that's right. You can see through this hot stage. Yeah. Amazing. And by the way, I do love the fact that you could ask a question via buying something from our store, but all of these are like, thanks for the coverage, thanks for the awesome coverage and patches, of course. Thanks, NSF, for the awesome coverage. It's like, people are just taking their time to actually just send a thank you message after getting something from our store. That means a lot. That really is so cool when people do that. There was the patch. You saw the patch with the transition. Woo! Animated version as well. That's Ryan Caton work, if ever there was one. That is amazing though, Alex. You can see the engines through the integrated hot stage.
Yeah.
Is there any... Am I getting a bit silly here? Because I'm sure SpaceX would have thought about this. I'm not going to be watching this channel going, oh, you know what, I didn't think about that until Chris mentioned it. But they're not exactly protected from the elements. Is that a thing?
Well, unless rain falls upwards.
I mean, neither are the booster engines. The booster engines aren't either.
There's quite a lot of grackles flying around there. I'm just thinking about,
It's okay. That's extra protection.
Like, there's almost nothing a grackle could do inside that engine bay. I'm going to be honest with you. That's like Inconel and other like harder metals and whatnot. Not only that, that engine bay is incredibly empty. It's really empty compared to older ships. And there is basically no exposed hardware up in there anymore. It's a flatter dome, and then it looks like the entire bay is insulated. So basically,
Ryan, I think speaking of protected engines, I think we should protect you from being drowned by going underwater.
See, I was going with the bay thing because bay. Water. Anyways. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
We'll get to you back when you fix that.
But yeah, I mean, it's great we get to see it. Oh, sorry, Ryan.
Am I better? Hello?
There you go.
You sound a bit better, yes. There we go.
I unplugged my mic and plugged it back in.
That's how it always works. Technical solution to everything is turn it off and on again. There we go. Again, thanks for all your support. I always get overwhelmed by it, and I don't even mean that as a kind of just way of saying things. I genuinely feel overwhelmed by it because every stream we do, even Raptor sides, we get so much support. And, it really is continuous. And it allows us, you've seen probably our team out there with our bots. You saw the bots probably when you saw the test stands rolling past on Starbase Live like an hour or so ago. All these cameras, we've got bowling cameras and things like this. These are expensive things. We couldn't go out and buy ourselves. We can't self-fund this. This literally is via the money we get from doing streams like this with the support we get, because you can't run it on adverts only. That's not enough money to start with for a start. It's just not enough. It is the community support that allows us to generate enough money to go out and buy these things, which in the best way possible is what gets you better coverage. So that's how it works. So it's really kind of like a cyclical thing, which is really important. But Bideford is one example. An absolute regular supporter. Bideford, greetings Chris, Alex, Roger and Ryan. Yeah, awesome team. By the way, the patch design is fantastic. Jay, is it time to show more than just a transition now? I don't know if I'm putting you under pressure here. I think it's a real nice little segue to showing it. Jay's thinking, Chris, I wasn't ready for this. Nope, I don't. Maybe not ready. No, he's not ready. Sorry, it's my fault. I tell you what. You know what? Roger will be taking over hosting of this very shortly, and Roger will have to wait for Jay King to be ready, and then we'll talk about it then. That's probably the best bet. I will say one of the questions we got immediately was about the prop loading, and Ryan was actually talking about it at the time. There will be enough questions where several people ask the same question. We'll put one of them on and talk about it. We were not ignoring you. It's just that we don't repeat the question several times when we've just answered it. That's the way it goes. Oh, Methane Man wants a poll to guess how fast they'll fill her up. Well, you know what? Once I come off hosting, I'll work on that one for you. So leave that with me. Also, people are asking about the TPS, Alex. There's obviously some tiles that are, in inverted commas, missing, but I think they're actually metallic tiles, aren't they?
I'm not sure they're metallic tiles. They just different colored. I'm not sure exactly what other sort of material they might be, but where you see like little white dots on the ship, that's not a missing tile. In fact, there is one missing tile, but since it's got the black pyron material that's sort of behind all of the tiles and everything, or at least large patches of tiles, it just looks like it's black. And so you only see that little one single tile missing when you zoom in, and it's sort of on the nose cone area, and it's just it's like really hard to see when you are, for example, at this sort of wide angle view. Whereas you can still see, even in this wide angle view, some of the little white dots from those special tiles. We're not fully sure exactly what kind of tile that might be. At first, we thought, oh, well, these are metallic tiles. But then looking closer, it's like, maybe not. We'll see. Maybe SpaceX will tell us. I mean, they often do that sort of thing where they say, hey, we're testing this, we're testing that. And so perhaps that's what we'll see hopefully in the next few days as we get ready for launch.
There's a few people in chat asking for a T-minus clock. I mean, I'd love to have one, but it'd be very hard to judge it. There'll be a T-minus clock in the mission control at SpaceX, but even that might not be accurate because it'll have holes and things like that. It depends on how they prop load it. It really isn't something we'd like to put on there as complete guesswork, but we will talk you through it as they start loading, because we'll have ideas of how fast they can load the booster, and we'll watch how fast they can load the ship. We'll see indications from the pad itself, which shows you close. You obviously get the DSSS and the deluge. So, in fact, Ryan, do we expect a deluge for a wet dress rehearsal?
They might activate the trench deluge. I don't think they'll do the top deck. There's not really a reason to do that. They have done it with a booster on there before, but I don't think they'll do it this time around. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do the normal deluge and whatnot. We'll probably see DSS. I would expect that, but I don't know if we'll see deluge. That is in fact, in my countdown spreadsheet, I have deluge with a question mark because I don't know if we'll see it or not. But yeah, we'll wait and see if we actually do see it or not here.
Yep, very good. And speaking of the pad, and this caught my eye because I know this is what the shuttle flame trenches were built out of, the fondue concrete. Shuttle historians will remember, I think it was STS-122, I can't remember now. It was one of those ones where all the refractory bricks got absolutely pummeled out of that trench, and it could have been quite serious. In fact, it was STS-117. There we go. It was quite a serious event, but this is a completely different makeup. This is properly done trench. I mean, is it all fondue concrete as far as you know, Ryan?
There is not a single bit of exposed concrete inside that trench. It's all steel. All of it. And yeah, it's all either painted steel or stainless steel. Not a single bit of exposed concrete in the entire thing. They learned that lesson with Pad 1, and they learned it well, and they took it to heart and said, no more exposed concrete. That's basically what they said to themselves.
Well, that certainly reassures me, because that was an issue during that shuttle launch. They sent bricks absolutely flying. I mean, you remember the Starship Flight 1 incident with Danger Van, etc. That was even worse, but luckily there was no camera vans parked literally half a mile away from the pad. So that wasn't in that case. Oh, my word. Quick thanks to more people before I hand over hosting duties to Roger. You lucky people, because I've got too many things to do, and I think Roger would make a better job of this, especially rather than me at 2 o'clock in the morning. Astro Ellie, hang on a minute, Astro Ellie, one of our team. What a beautiful sight. Go SpaceX and NSF. Thank you, Ellie. Watch Reno, thank you to Watch Renu for the support. I wonder if that's what the default thing is when someone doesn't put anything in it. I don't know. That was kind of, I don't think it's something you would write yourself. So excited to be back at this point again. NSF has done a fantastic job keeping us excited. The double booms, thank you for your support as well. There's so many. These are all store messages. I'm telling you right now, some people have got the patch. I might be in a position of saying, be careful, because we only get so many in. You'll know that from our history of patches, that we've got some patches that are completely sold out. Luckily, we've also got pins as well now, including the ones of the patches we sold out of. So you can do that alternative idea as well, and stickers as well. But the patches are default, yeah. Tyler Sherrick wants to know, first ship catch of the year, this year, yes or no? Chat, join in with this. Hang on, I've just seen Patrick Bob. Joining with this with this question, chat. Do you think we'll see a ship catch this year? And I will ask Alex first.
Oh boy. They might. But I think I give it a 50-50 chance.
No, Alex. Rules are yes or no.
It depends how many flights they are able to get in. Because if flights go well and they are able to get somewhere in the order of like 5 to 6 flights out of Starbase, I think, at least one of those has to be a ship catch by that point, right? Because if the flights go well and they do that many flights, and it's like they have to do a ship catch, right? At least on the 5th or 6th flight there that I just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
If Flight 12 doesn't go that well, or Flight 13 or whatever, then we are talking about a different thing. That's why I'm saying like it's probably a 50-50 thing. Definitely next year, that's for sure. Like by next year, this should already be done.
Very good. I'm going to go to Ryan next for a reason. Ryan, yes or no?
You always ask for these yes or no things, and it's like
well, that's the rules. That's the rules.
Ship catch this year. I'll go reckless optimism and say yes, but just barely by the end of the year.
Well, that's typical Ryan Webber, reckless optimism. So that's fair enough, isn't it? And now I'm going to go to Roger, and when Roger's giving his answer, you'll give you a reason why I've gone to Roger last. Roger, yes or no?
Well, I'm looking at my wall and trying to figure out where the picture of the first ship catch that's going to be happening this year is going to go, because that's just going to be an incredible sight. You can't wait for that to happen.
It is. And on that, I'm going to say, first of all, thank you to Patrick Bob for turning up, because I've just noticed at the corner of my eye. We'll get to you in a minute. We're going in order on the support queue, but Patrick Bob, as always, is just amazing. You have literally got an army of members by doing gifted membership, so I really appreciate it. I want to give that note first, and then hand over the reins to Roger, who will ably host this stream as we get through to prop loading and wet dress rehearsal. So thank you to all of you, and thank you to Roger.
Well, thank you, Chris. It's an honor to be here. Really looking forward to the wet dress rehearsal here going on. Again, we got Alex and Ryan here for your technical questions. We got lots of good stuff. Again, tag us with NSF in chat, and we'd be happy to get your question in the queue, and we'll try to address it. Hey, Alex, we got one here for you. It's from Fazilla. And there's been a lot of changes with the version 3 ships, and is asking, where's the missing grid fin? How come there's 3 rather than 4 on this thing?
Oh, well, that is part of the changes of the design for the booster, right? They went from 4 grid fins where they were like 2 of them closer together on each side, right? Like there will be like 120 degrees between the widest of the angles. I think that's how it works essentially. And here, what you got is all 3 in 90 degrees, and then the widest angle it's like 180 because it's sort of like missing, right? It's sort of like a T shape, and you're missing the remaining 4th grid fin. And the reason for that is because they found out, or rather, they kind of already guessed that this was a thing. The booster doesn't really need that much of a yaw and of a yaw movement, essentially a left and right movement. You're basically mostly just doing pitch, right, up and down, and trying to do that. In fact, for this version of the booster, it's in fact planned to take a really sort of really high angle of attack as it re-enters, right? And so in this view, for example, the grid fins on the left and right here act as that sort of pitch grid fin, right? Those are the ones that control your pitch. And so if you can imagine, so they are, first of all, they are larger, but not only that, because of the way that the previous grid fins were oriented, all of them actually control the pitch, all 4 of them. But it was only like the full pitch control was actually only a percentage of each grid fin, right? So you had 4 grid fins, but it was only like a percentage of that. By doing it this way, you have more control, not just because they are larger, but also because you're controlling the pitch on 2 full grid fins, right? It's sort of like, I don't know, 2 versus 1.5, right? I once did the math and it was sort of like 1 to 1.5 grid fins, so to speak, worth of control of that pitch axis. And then what is that 3rd grid fin for? Well, with that one, you can actually control the yaw. With that, it sort of acts like a rudder, like you would see, for example, on a boat or a plane. You will have your elevons for the pitch and whatnot, and then you will have your rudder for yaw control. And now the roll, you can still control that with even with the 3, in fact. But in theory, you only need the 2 of them on the left and right. Over there, just you push them in opposite directions and then you sort of roll, right? That's less of a thing as well, but it's sort of like if you were to put in a ranking the top directions that you want the booster to move, you want more pitch control because of the flight profile. It just goes out and back basically in pretty much the same direction. Then the roll, because you still sort of need it to align the grid fins there on the left and right, which have the catch points with the chopsticks, right? Especially on Pad 2, because it's a really weird orientation that it's got. And then finally, it's the yaw control. So that's basically the long answer why there's 3 and in this T shape. But yeah, also they have included the catch points on those 2 grid fins on the left and right.
Very good, Alex. Much appreciated. Okay, folks, one thing that's very important and really cool when we get a full stack is our patches. So those have been released in the store, and you'll see it. Every item on here really has a story behind it, so it's not just a patch. I think it is Jacques that created these. So we have patches, we have pins, we have stickers, we got T-shirts, we got sweatshirts. I cannot recommend highly the sun shirts. Those are so cool. They're very comfortable to wear for that. So, check out our store at shop.nasaspaceflight.com, and you can check out all the cool merch there. Not only this, but the past stuff. I think we got some metal prints that are starting to show up in there. I don't know if Max did it yet. He caught a really cool one. It looked like a Mother's Day print for some flowers and a Starship, which was really cool. And we got a tower vent going on. Ryan, what's going on with the tower vent?
Yeah, that just started. Well, let's see here. Let me look at my timings here. So tower vent, that would be 8. So that's 8:10. And I predict, what was it? We were like 40 minutes away or so from a possible prop load. So it's quicker to the tower vent than Pad 1, obviously. but we're gonna have to see when that shuts off, or if it like turns off then on, when it comes to like prop load for the ship. Because on pad 1, it would run for a while and then it would turn off, then it would turn back on again, and then it would turn off again, and then they would be into prop load. So we'll have to see when this turns off and if that indicates prop load. The thing is what I'm expecting, because ship in this case should take much less time to load than
Wait,
booster.
wait. Is that the tower vent?
Yes. I'm in the middle of talking about it. Yeah.
Oh, God.
I was literally in the middle of talking about it, Alex.
I was like, yeah, sort of tuned out for a bit there, and I was like, wait.
Yeah, that little oops. That vent right there. Right there. That's your tower vent. They put it into a trident vent kind of thing.
Wow.
So that's the tower vent we're looking at. So that means the lock side up to that point in the tower is getting chilled down for the ship. Which they started the methane reclaim at 7:50, and only 20 minutes later the tower vent started. I don't know. We'll have to see what's next. I'm curious to see what happens next with this, with everything going on here, because basically we're kind of expecting prop load at still another 40 minutes away or so. So maybe they're doing a full chill down on both, and then they'll go into prop load on both, or they're farther along with the mount chill down than I think they are. So again, we're kind of watching and learning with everyone at this point, because this is the first time we've seen the ship systems active alongside the booster systems here.
Yeah, and this is what's so important about this wet dress rehearsal, is that it's not only testing the vehicle, but it's also testing the ground system. We've got a brand new system. We've seen the booster get fired. Now we got the ship going on there. So wait and watch. We're learning with the rest of you. While we're here, I want to start thanking some people here if we can. From Jason, you guys are greatest. Appreciate that. Been watching for 5 years. Congratulations. Thank you for your support on there, and appreciate what you do. It's a pleasure. This is a passion for all of us here at NSF, and we really like doing it. We got Emmanuel. Thank you, NSF. You're amazing. Been watching you tank watch for the days. Hope to be an aerospace engineer one day. Y'all the best. Good for you, Emmanuel. It's a great time. It's a renaissance of spaceflight. You're going to be able to find a job somewhere in this industry. It's so cool to have all that opportunity available for you. We got Michael saying, so ready for Flight 12. You and me both, brother. We got Bob Smith saying, any ideas on why the bottom strut mounts on the hot stage are different from one another? Alex, do you want to take that one?
Oh, that looks more like a Ryan question. He's more into hot staging.
They're not different. So they're all the same. Some have covers and some don't, because some have wiring going to the ship, the 3 ship clamps that are up in the hot stage, as well as there's other sensors and everything that go up there. So some have covers, some don't. The one thing that's new between the last time the booster was out and this time is that some of those covers are painted, or at least I should say all the covers themselves are painted black, because SpaceX really loves their black paint these days. In fact, the aft inside the ship has a single panel painted black. I don't think they really got to it on 39, but I think the entire aft of the ship, like the aft little it's literally like a roof inside the ship. It's a bunch of steel plating and I think holding some insulation in. It's all supposed to be painted black at some point. So SpaceX loves their black paint on Block 3. We'll just go with that. They love their black paint.
Very good. Okay, we've got Rancley, and my apologies in advance, folks, if I butcher your names. I'm not good at the reading part here. Feeling this is going to be bananas. Is the booster going to be fully frosty? In my opinion, I believe it will. Ryan or Alex, anything different than it wouldn't be?
Yeah, pretty much. What we might see is what we saw. So they have technically done a wet dress rehearsal just with the booster. And that was last month, when the second time around that they brought Booster 19 out to the pad. And sort of the final test of that round of testing was doing a wet dress rehearsal with just a booster. And it seemed like they still underfueled by a little bit. So it meant that the oxygen tank did not get fully frosty. Like it was not 100%, maybe like 95, 96 or something like that, right? Same deal with the methane tank as well. We might see that today. So almost fully frosted booster.
Very good. And we got Betty B here, got something in the store saying, on my way to Starbase, so excited. Betty, you're going to love it. It's just a surreal experience there. I think it was Jack who put it best. It's like a music festival with rockets. You're going to meet all kinds of cool people there from all over the world, all with the same passion for this. You're going to get so close to this vehicle and to the production site. It's like no other place in the world. It's a total geekdom for all us space nerds here. We got kids with from the store. Thank you for your purchase here. Hopefully it was the right one. Patches. Keep the thanks NFS. You're very welcome. We got Richard. Keep the patches coming. Yeah, they are awesome. We got such a great design team for each and every one of them. Is just beautiful, and yeah, they're great collectors on them. Oh, is that a beautiful shot? Thank you, Jay. From Maddie the Surfer, I feel disheartened. Seems like so long between launches. When is cryogenic fueling and catch Starship? Well, hope you're not too disheartened. But yeah, it's been a while since we've had a vehicle ready for launch, but there's just been so much action going on since the last launch, from Giga Bay, Pad 1 being torn down, Pad 1 being built up, and all kinds of things. So I don't know, Alex or Ryan, if you want to take cryogenic refueling. We've already talked about the ship catch. When do you think we'll get it on orbit refueling?
I will mention this ship is carrying the docking ports for refueling, right? Like that's already a step in the right direction, because we did not see this on any of the ships prior to this one. And this one is carrying the docking ports, where in the future tankers will be, or rather this will be the tanker variant, and then it will dock to a depot in space, and that'll have the actual sort of active side of the docking port that you can see. There's like 2 docking ports at the top, 2 docking ports at the bottom, total of 4 docking ports. That's what will make possible for the ships to connect in space. And then they have they will transfer the fuel just the same way that the fuel is going into the ship later on in this countdown, right? They'll use that quick disconnect. For the tanker version, for the propellant storage, or the depot Starship, that'll be with a special plate that it'll carry. So it's gonna have like 2 different plates in that case. But yeah, it's a step in. So I will say, don't feel disheartened. I don't really know how to pronounce this. It's too late for me. And I really didn't sleep too much, to be honest. But yeah, I wouldn't feel too like that. Like if this works, it's a really good step in the right direction. This will be the first time they are actually flying with this sort of hardware. I really want them to be able to do this sort of thing sooner. But also, if they if they have had already issues going fast in the past, right? Imagine if they actually try to go faster, right? They will have even more issues, even more things going on and exploding and blah, 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 So they're taking it slow, and it's sort of, it makes sense that they are taking it slow, because it's really complex.
Very good. Thanks, Alex. And we got Anonymous, Go Starship from Aussie Phil. Hey, great to have a whole worldwide audience here. I'm not going to do that question the mods hate, but maybe we'll do it later if we get some downtime here. We got Jonathan O. Where do they get the water these days? Is still being trucked in? I believe they are, but they're working on a water line, aren't they, Ryan?
Yeah, they're still trucking it in. They're working on getting a line straight from Brownsville to be able to just straight line feed the water deluge tanks, so they don't have to constantly truck it in. It's part of their bigger initiative to try to truck less and less stuff in, like building an ASU, an air separation unit, to take air from the atmosphere and split it into oxygen and nitrogen, or should I say LOX and liquid nitrogen, so that they can put those into the tanks. And then even later down the line with the new expansion, they'll build some natural gas liquefaction plants like some small ones, they can put a natural gas pipeline to the launch site, and then they can liquefy their own natural gas and purify it and have their own methane on site. So their plan overall is to try to reduce the amount of trucks they need for this launch site, 39A, and for 37 overall over time, by actually making the propellants on site rather than having to truck them in. Because I mean, we all saw the line of anyone who was watching the Ship 39 rollout stream. There was like 20, 30 trucks that were just kind of like lined up behind 39, ready to offload. And SpaceX wants to try to get rid of those. So, yeah.
Very good. And I would be remiss, the one, the only, Patrick Bob. I don't know what to say, Patrick, anymore. Just thank you so much. I hope you gave us 50 red memberships to y'all. I hope you all enjoy that. And as members, one thing you got going now, we have a members multi-stream going, so you got lots of different views on there. So if you're a member, be sure to check that out. You get some really cool stuff going on there. Okay, let's get back to some questions here. Actually, here's one I can probably handle. It's Big Mike is asking if they replace the tape on the chines. We did a real close-up look earlier today, and there's still tape on some of the chines, but the other ones look to be welded. I don't know, Ryan or Alex, what happens to the ones that have the tape on them? Will that be one of the reasons they're going back to the Mega Bay for the final prep?
Yeah, they're not welded; they're bolted. So there's a strip of stainless that'll go between the gap on the open chines, and they put bolts in them, torque stripe them, and close them out that way. They're not going to be fixed at the pad. Those will get fixed when it rolls back after this test, assuming this is successful. I will say that. They'll roll it back, get it back into Mega Bay 1, and they'll do all the final checks, do all the final little things they got to do here and there, make sure FTS installed, all that stuff, and then they'll roll it back out to the pad when they're ready to go. So it's a thing they still got to do, but it'll be done in the bay.
Very good. Okay, and you've got a lot of people that will come in here and want to know just the basics. What is this big silver thing we're looking at? What's it going to do? So, Alex, maybe if you run down real quick some weights and specs. As far as Subi is asking, how tall is it? And we got Spartan is asking, how much does it weigh and how much fuel would it have in it?
Well, the full stack from the bottom of the nozzles on the booster, right? Sort of like the bottom of the engines, basically, all the way to the tip of the nose cone, that should be about 123 meters or so. More or less. It's a rounding there. The very specific number, I believe we know it's like 123 point something, but I forgot exactly what that something is. Now the diameter is 9 meters or about 30 feet if I'm not mistaken. And then the weight right now, since it's empty, it should be about 500 tons, more or less, right? Would you agree with that?
I'd say it's about 500. It's maybe a little under 500.
Under 500, yeah.
Booster's probably... Well, the thing is the booster lifter is 280 tons capacity, and they're using that thing full with engines, so booster's probably like 270, at least 270 or less. I would say ship is probably in the 160 range, so it's probably like 350 tons, 400. So something like
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
And then fully fueled, it's over 5,000 tons. So, yeah, it's like almost 5,500, in fact, because it's like 5,000 tons of propellant. It's almost 5,500.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing, and we're going to see it right before our eyes, folks, as far as you're going to see 5,000 tons of propellant loaded into this vehicle in, half an hour?
Hey,
Go for
Roger.
it,
What?
So, Roadblock, it looks like the Roadblock decided to move.
Oh, yeah.
So do you think they're pulling back to a safer location?
Yeah, basically, this means that they're getting closer and closer to prop load. I'm still kind of thinking it's going to be around 850 or so. We'll have to see. Of course, SpaceX could always surprise us and it goes faster. Because again, we're learning these times with everyone. They've only done a booster wet dress rehearsal. They have not done with a full stack. So, but either way, the Roadblock is moved back. So that means that we're getting closer and closer. It's become more real. Wet dress rehearsal for Flight 12.
So, Ryan, do you think they'll pull back all the way to Richardson Avenue, or will they put the roadblock more towards the production site, you think?
I know sometimes they do place a block all the way back at Richardson, and I know I have seen a roadblock like right at like the Giga Bay entrance, or where it used to be the old production site entrance. I know sometimes they would place one there, and they try to keep a lot of the production site and village clear in the process, because I mean, as Alex is just saying, they're about to put like 5,500 metric tons of fuel on this thing. So, well, propellant as a whole, so liquid oxygen and liquid methane, a combination of the two.
Okay. And if I'm not mistaken, Ryan, I think we have on the right-hand screen, that is the roadblock at Richardson Avenue, which is, I think it's a little over a mile from the production site. Then, so we're about 3.5 miles from the pad, if that's the Richardson roadblock.
Yeah, that should be the block at Richardson, which is just right near our river site. It's between Massey's and the production site. It's much closer to the production site than it is Massey's. But it's to keep as many people farthest away as possible from the rocket. And then, of course, we were talking about before, there's a soft block all the way in Brownsville, where Highway 4 kind of becomes its own road before there's and there's no more branching off of Highway 4. The only real branch offs are like Massey's and the Port Connector Road and some of the lots that SpaceX has. So that soft block is to be like, hey, you'll beyond this point, it's basically mostly SpaceX stuff, and there's a rocket getting fueled beyond that point. So they kind of try to keep people away from going down the highway at that point.
Very good. Now, it's I always think about that when it's full. Hopefully it doesn't have a bad day any day. But we'll see how that. Alex or Ryan, on this one from Orc Cloud, we're seeing some different colored non-black tiles on the ship. He didn't think they were doing those anymore. Any thoughts on what those are and why they're placed where they are?
I took that one earlier. Maybe you take it now, right?
I think they're just differently painted tiles. I think they're normal tiles with a different coating on them. I don't think they're metallic, looking at some of the higher res photos of them. I know there is that one missing tile, and I would say this. I think that tile's missing because SpaceX was in the process of replacing it, and they didn't get a chance to replace it because the pins are still there. A lot of times, if they purposely take a tile out, they take the pins off as well, and the pins and the ablative are still there. I just think they didn't get around to putting the new tile there, so it probably gets placed when it goes back to the bay.
It looks so weird.
Yeah, it does look weird, and it's all along the edge. And it's kind of, they have a bunch on the flaps, and they kind of go up in a straight line right along the edge. A lot of it's like right on the edge of the crunch wrap, basically, because the crunch wrap doesn't go all the way to the edge of it. I think it's a different coating on the tile to test to see how it works. I see like probably heating changes or how it looks when it's all said and done. It's just SpaceX, doing experiments, stuff like that. But they're not like removing patches of tiles, because if this thing gets to re-entry, they want it to survive, because as we talked about earlier, they want this to do a splashdown, the next ship to do a splashdown, and they want to get to recovering ships as soon as they humanly possibly can. Because then they can get to reuse of ships, and if they can start reusing ships and boosters, then the production line doesn't have to be as quick. They'll still want it to be quick because they'll want to get a fleet going of ships and boosters, but at least a slower production line won't hurt them as much. And is that the tower vent turning off, or is that it just the wind blowing it to so much?
I think it's turned off.
Or at least it's
I don't see it on the other side. Yeah. Maybe it's got the same behavior than the previous one?
So we'll go with 830 tower vent, tower vent something.
Are we able to see the frosty pipes?
I don't know. We might be able to. lighting's kind of not the greatest, but it definitely turned down the tower vent. And if my prediction holds, which it very well may not, we would start prop load in about 20 minutes. And that would be on the booster to start with. So I'm watching and waiting for the subcoolers to really kick into gear at some point, and for the methane reclaim vent to shut off at some point too.
Yeah, so the reason why I was asking before you, Ryan, for people that might not know this, whether this is sort of like pad 1, is that on pad 1, on the first tower, the behavior used to be that, you know, it will turn on, and then after a few minutes, it will sort of die off, very much like this behavior that we see here. And then it will come back again after a few more minutes. And the second time it comes back, it came back, it used to be like really strong venting, like it turned mostly like a cape, you know, like as if the tower was wearing a cape or of sorts, right? And it was sort of, you know, blowing in the wind. That's how big it used to be. So if this is sort of the same behavior, it will be interesting if it returns and it becomes more stronger. And the reason why it's important is because that behavior, when we saw that with Tower 1, at the end of that final vent is when they started liquid oxygen load on the ship. And so it was interesting to track that, because then we will know when they were starting to fill the ship with oxygen. So this is why we keep track of these vents and all that stuff. You know, might seem a little bit boring and whatnot, but it also gives us sort of a situation alert, I guess, to know exactly where we are in the timeline.
So then a question for you guys, if I can. Here, we're going to go through this process. We're going to have a number of milestones coming down. At the very end, what will we see at the very end as far as T0? I know we won't see ignition, but will there be any things that we can see that would indicate that they've reached their end goal?
We'll see there's two service structure drains that'll be close to T0. There's a LOX one and there's a methane one, where they basically drain liquid methane out and drain liquid oxygen out. For those of you worried about them draining liquid methane, they are allotted 7 tons per test. It's in the PEA. I'd have to go grab it again. But they're allotted to drain some out and vaporize some out. If you're going to ask why they don't have a flare stack, that's a good question. I don't know why they don't have a flare stack. They just don't. They try to reclaim as much as they can, and then they vent off what they can't. And then in terms of other things, so there's a little vent on the side of the entire mount that goes. And then there's the DSS that activates, and then they might also activate the deluge today. Now, the one thing I'd be curious about, I wonder if we will see a massive purge out of the launch mount today as a practice run for launch day. Because during launch, they're going to want to have a full positive nitrogen environment inside the launch mount and the service structure itself. It helps prevent the exhaust from getting in. Not only does the shielding and that sealing help prevent exhaust from getting in, but having a positive pressure environment, and especially nitrogen, makes it even more inert and protected more. So I'd be curious to see if we'll see those big vents on the side of the service structure go or not. I don't know if there's anything additional to the tower. We don't know. We're gonna have to watch and wait, because this is the first time they're really running through the tower a lot, especially with a vehicle on the pad. This is the first time they've had a ship hooked up to the QD. They hooked it up this morning, like maybe 12 hours ago is when they hooked the QD up. Not even 12 hours ago. So yeah, a lot of this stuff is still new. So we're waiting to see if we got some new stuff going on today.
Very good. Okay, we got AC Gypsies saying they're setting to Starbase in about a month. No launch then, probably. Well, maybe. We'll see. What are the must-dos at Starbase? Take it all in. Enjoy it. Again, I think I stated before how close you get to not only the production facilities, the launch facilities. If you're lucky enough to see a vehicle go down the road, you can be standing alongside the road as it passes by you. That's just a surreal experience to do that. But also, if you want to do non-rocket stuff, South Padre Island is a big tourist area, lots of hotels, lots of restaurants and things like that. And in any case, it's a great place to visit, even if there's not a launch going on. And real quickly, Rankley is wondering about, do the residents of the village have to evacuate? Well, I don't think there's any regular non-SpaceX residents of the village, so they're well aware of what they need to do. Yeah, Mary, wonderful. She's one of the reasons we're all here getting to talk about this, and she's such a great person, a great friend, and so she is no longer living there. But yeah, again, I think it's all SpaceX, and they're going to be all good there. Okay, we got Brecken68 is wondering about, is SpaceX going to use Raptor 3 engines on the moon lander, or are they going to design a lower power engine for landing? I don't know, Alex, are you got up on the latest for the HLS ship?
Well, I have a great answer for this, both. Because the lander will be using Raptor 3, but it also has its own dedicated landing engines. So the idea is that, for the great majority of the descent burn, you use the Raptor 3 because to get out of lunar orbit and sort of, decelerate and slow down enough for a landing. 95% of that, you can basically do that with Raptor 3, right? With the main engines, basically. And then the final bit, you do it with the landing engines high up from the surface. You basically transition from one set of engines to the other, and you land on those. And those landing engines are far up the ship. It's like 30 meters off the ground, so that means it's quite far up. They're lower power as well, so like there's many of those little thrusters. I think the latest renders that we saw had like 20 or 24 of them, so they're much smaller each one of them. So yeah, you prevent a lot of the dust kicking off and things like that. It will probably still kick off dust, but not as much. Again, it will be like 30 meters off the ground, so that kind of helps.
Very good. And I'd like to thank some people here. We got the Watcher gifting 1 Red Team membership. Thank you. And we got Jeff for great coverage. Something from the shot. Appreciate it. We got Ricky saying, Chris, thanks, Chris, for keeping this going, and Shuttle. And so, okay, you got your bingo cards there for Chris and Shuttle, if you didn't mention already. But yeah, I mean, just a complete respect and shout out to Chris Bergen, who started this whole thing as a website, as a forum, and grown from there. It's just great to be even a little bit a part of it. Chris, we got good evening watching from What Dates We Are from the shop. Evan, thanks for doing this. Got something from the shop. Lawrence, do we have a Flight 12 launch date? Well, maybe we'll get to it. Let's see what happens today, and maybe we'll do some of that at the end. Stephen liking the patches. All the patches are always great. More from Gabe, loving the patches. Another one for your NSF flag, first flight. That's great. Yeah, collect them all. Thomas Benedict, watching since SN2. Now in high school, working in this space, hoping to work in the space centers. Well, good luck. Yeah, like I say before, it's just a renaissance in spaceflight right now. There are lots of companies. Hopefully there's lots of opportunities for you, and the best of luck for that. We got S.C. Robinson that gifted 5 Rev Team memberships. Thank you very much. We got Ethan thanking NSF. Appreciate that much. Let's see. Shazbert Toddbot. What's up, guys? I'm late to the party. Have you got to spooling a tank farm? And that's it so far. Yeah. So hopefully by now you're seeing everything going on. And yeah, we're well into the countdown and the procedure here. We got Michael, great job. After all the testing's done and Starship gets regular flights, do you think the military will use it? Maybe I'll ask Ryan and Alex. I would imagine the military is pretty interested in this vehicle and its capabilities. I think it might be a little bit. They want to prove the vehicle, but what do you think, Ryan?
Oh, yeah, they're interested. 100%. Whether it's point-to-point, although I don't understand how you try to do point-to-point to a military base, and then how do you get that Starship to another location? So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to know, to be honest, what they would use it for overall. But there's definitely applications for the military.
Star Shield.
Yeah, that too.
They can do that right away because it will use the Starlink bus, so They don't need any modifications. They can just, launch it in this version of Starship. Anything else will probably need some kind of modification and doohickey being decided to, adjust to their needs. But that is probably the easiest application for them.
Okay, and continuing on, we got Anonymous getting something from the store. Thank you. We've got Calvin Vlogs, new member. Think you got new membership? Well, great. Enjoy the perks with that. The multi-view, all kinds of behind-the-scenes stuff, photos. You'll enjoy it. James got to meet Max at Starship's rollout yesterday, and his well-worn orange shirt inspired the purchase. Thanks up to good work. Max is incredible. I just love the man. He's a photographer extraordinaire and just an all-around good guy. So shout out to you, Max. Thanks for all you do. We got Thomas got something from the shop. Thank you very much. John Cokes gifted a Red Team membership. Thank you, John. You're always with us and appreciate all your support over the years here. Dave, love the channel. Been here since Hoppy. What happened to the whiskey glasses? I think they're in the store now. I don't know. Maybe Lindsay in the back channel will tell me. Let's just say through a friend of a friend, I have 2 of them that are on my shelf, and they're really cool. Except they didn't come with instructions, so I got to have somebody tell me how to actually fill them and show me. Anyway, Richard already had the first lesson, first 11 patches. Now stopping now. Thanks for the coverage. Appreciate that. We got Jeremiah, beautiful art. Can't wait for Flight 12. Thank you very much for the store message. Yeah, I can't wait for the sonic booms. We got Tallinson. How does it take to offload the semi-trailer for methane versus loading the stack? It's funny. I don't know, Brian, if you know that. I guess they're asking, how long does it take to unload one of the tanker trucks?
I actually don't know exactly how long it takes to unload those things. I think they take like a little bit of time, like an hour or so, or more. To be honest, I don't remember exactly how long. That's one thing I don't know. We'll put it that way. I don't know that one.
Do we know if they're still trucking that stuff in from Houston? Because I remember coming down, to Starbase, and I'm passing Houston, Texas, and I'm seeing like the shuttle tanker leaving there. I think they're, we definitely got the air separation unit that's going to help out with that a lot. And I don't know, Brian, if you could speak to that as far as how that's going to help, and will that speed things up?
I think I don't remember exactly where they're getting it from. I know a couple of people I could ask that might know where they're getting it from, but as of me myself, I don't know off the top of my head on that one.
Okay, we got Paul with the store message. Got a patch now. Appreciate that. Yeah, the patches are cool. Appreciate you buying stuff in the store. Michael flying the NSF flag outside. Oh, that's great. Those are so cool. Thank you very much for doing that. Looking forward to Flight 12, as are we all. Timothy, light the scandal. Well, I hope not today. Let's hope it doesn't light today. You got, I'm not even going to try this one. For becoming a PadRack member, thank you very much. I think another PadRack member. Got Daniel, excited for the flight. Got something in the store, wishing cameras luck. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. All this has given us some experience, especially with the static fires, on where to place the cameras, because it's going to be new to all of us as far as where we go. We got all the team, though, is looking for the best spots to give you the best coverage for that. Got Rebecca as saying, love, love, love the patches. I have all but Flight 3. Thanks so much. Well, thank you again for buying the patches and supporting us in the store. And then Crispy, thank you very much. 50 Red Team memberships gifted to y'all. Please say thank you to them in the chat if you can, and enjoy all the perks. Again, you get photographs. You get, like I said, there's a members multi-stream going right now. We can see a lot of different cameras going on, lots of special member stuff for that. So I hope y'all enjoy that. Okay, let's get back to some questions here. We've got Tony Ray Frey. When do you think they'll start catching all version 3 boosters? Definitely not happen on this flight. Alex, what do you think they're going to start catching and there'll be a regular occurrence?
I will give it a couple of flights at the very least, a couple of good flights of the booster. It is true that they did a catch attempt after just one single splashdown of the booster, right? Remember, they went from Flight 4 to Flight 5. Flight 4 was the first successful splashdown of the booster, And then Elon said, "Oh, next flight we'll catch in the booster," and we were all like, "Nah, you're delaying that to flight 6. There's no way you're doing that on the next flight," and they did. So I can imagine them. You know, I I want to believe that flight 12 will be super duper perfect, but imagining that the booster will not have any issues on the way back at the very least, it's probably being too optimistic, right? It's the very first version, so who knows? I mean, it's the very first of its version that it's gonna fly. So there's a good chance that it may encounter something on the way down at the very least, if not even on the way up. Although I hope it's not on the way up, because I wanted to deliver the ship when it needs to. But yeah, it might take a couple of flights at the very least until they start catching these boosters regularly for version 3.
Very good. Can't wait till they start catching them again. Okay, I'm going to send this one your way, Ryan. What changes have we seen to the after the end ship? Mechazilla is asking this one.
Yep. So like there's a lot of stuff that's missing, that it's been basically deleted from the aft of the ship, at least on the inside. There's no longer a massive false ceiling. It's a little bit, it's far more like almost put it right up against the actual aft, thrust puck and the aft dome. There's still a little bit of an area. That's why the vents still exist. But overall, there's not a ton up there. But yeah, and then as for the rest of the aft of the ship, I mean, there's a ton of little changes with more stringers, the raceways, the split QD now. I should say it's not really split QD, but they're kind of split, but it's still one plate. They just tried to kind of separate the oxygen and methane systems a little bit more. It just looks a lot different now, but it's still one plate on the SQD side. There's a ton of changes all over the place. Like there's new thruster pods under the aft flap mounts. If you look, it looks like what is it? It looks like the shuttle OMS thrusters, or at least the shuttle thrusters. The way the vents are kind of like oriented, or at least the exits are oriented, something like that. There's a lot of cool little changes here and there on it. You could spend a while going through all the changes on these vehicles. These are like clean sheet designs. Well, all three things are clean sheet designs. The booster, the ship, the pad, and then is Raptor 3 clean sheet design? I mean, it's not really clean sheet, but it's definitely close. This is I'll just say this. This is still Starship, but there are so many differences between this stack and this pad and the old one that it almost isn't Starship anymore. It's kind of hilarious, to be honest.
Yeah, and people, we had a question earlier about taking so long. It's a new rocket. New booster, new ship, new launch pad, new tank farm, but it's built for the long term. And this is the prototype, and it's already past prototype for all the other pads, like in Florida. I mean, 39A is about 6 months away or so, and you're seeing more and more go up. You're seeing pad 1 that's going to be pretty much a duplicate of this, just a little bit different orientation. And while we're here, I want to take a little break here and just get a status update. I don't know, Alex or Ryan, where are we at in what we think the countdown is, and any estimates on a current T0?
Well, I've been paying attention to this. I think the methane reclaim vent is still going. There's so much other venting that it's hard to see. And the wind is kind of carrying it a little bit. I'm waiting for... There's a lot of excess venting that's going on right now, which is part of chill down. I think the methane reclaim vent's still going. The big cloud you see that's covering nearly 2/3 of the screen on the right side there, that's coming from a new 6 vent setup for the LOX bleed system. I'm waiting for that to turn off. And then the methane reclaim vent will turn off, and then 3 vents will turn on. It'll be the booster subcooler methane vent, the ship subcooler methane vent, and then the box fan vent will go utterly nuts because it'll have what is it? There's 2 large subcoolers and 4 smaller subcoolers, so 6 subcoolers worth, well, really more than that, of LN2 pumping through the box fan. So at some point, a lot of this X6 venting is going to shut off, and the subcooler vents are just going to go into overdrive as we get into prop load here, which I'm waiting for it to happen at some point here. I kind of predicted 850, but that doesn't look like it right now. I think the tower's fully chilled down with how early the tower vent started, and they're kind of holding the tower in a full chilled down state. I don't know if it's hard
And in
to tell
fact,
if
see
it's-
there the pipe fully frosty.
Yep,
See all the
ship QD is
condensation?
definitely frosting. The problem is they decided to do this at night. We
Yeah.
got some cool lighting, but doing this at night makes it harder to see some of the frostier pipes. But
At
I'm
least
kinda
there's no
up-
flash.
Right. I'm
The
kind of
flashing
waiting
lights from
for
Tower 1.
maybe those vents are starting to turn off here, or at least they're petering out. There's a bunch of like angled vents over the blast wall. Those need to like basically turn off, as well as the methane reclaim, and then the subcoolers need to start going nuts here. Trying to wait and see.
Okay, well, we're doing
We're
that.
into prop load yet, but we should be getting close.
And Ryan, and you guys will get this one. We went from 1701 to 1701A. So hopefully you get that reference here. And no bloody A, B, C, or D. And why is there a dash?
It is based. Yeah, that is a great comparison, because it's still the Constitution class, but it also isn't. But the other thing is, like, I love the original Matt Jeffries design. I really do. We're going down a rabbit hole now. I love the Matt Jeffries design, but the refit is so sleek. So nice. Like, I love both Connie designs. They're both awesome. The Strange New Worlds and the Discovery Connie, bleh, bleh, those are bad. Those are horrible. No, the original ones are the better ones. Those are the better ones.
I will be happy to go down that rat hole with you at some other time, Ryan.
Yeah.
Again, all you Trekkies out there, live long and prosper. Alex got a couple related to payload here. As Judd Phillips is wondering how many Starlink satellites could fit in, I guess, the Starship. And then for payload, are we going to be stuck with the flat packs for Starlinks and maybe other type payloads before we get another type of boat payload door in there? And if there is another door, do you have any idea what that might be?
So SpaceX said that this version should fit 60 Starlink satellites on board. And as to the big payload door, it's not coming anytime soon. And the reason we know this is because SpaceX has been telling satellite operators, build flat pack satellites, because we're not making a big payload door anytime soon, basically. They're still going to be continuing using the PES dispenser for the time being. I would not be surprised if, in fact, we don't see that at all this decade. Like, it's something in the 2030s or something like that. SpaceX has already too many flights in their schedules with just Starlink, the AI satellites, which are assumed to also be flat packed, so they're going to be using the PES dispenser, and Artemis. So you've got just those three, and of course Mars, maybe. Hopefully, we'll see. There's big question mark on that. So just with Artemis alone, for example, you've got the refueling demo that they need to do. They've got Artemis 3 itself, which it's the docking test with Orion, and then you've got the uncrewed version landing, the uncrewed landing on the moon, and then Artemis 4 or 5, whatever is the landing with crew mission. So that's a lot of tankers. That's a lot of flights in general that they need to fly. Plus Starlink, plus the AI project and everything. You've got a lot of launches already, and you're not really modifying much the opening there of the payload bay. So, yeah.
Hey, Ryan, we got Subi is asking, are they going to fully fuel the ship to the launch weight for this test?
Good question. They might fully fuel the ship, just not the booster. We know during the booster wet dress rehearsal, the LOX tank was just barely underfilled, and you could also tell the methane tank was a little bit underfilled because the top dome didn't get frosty. I think for these initial Block 3 flights, they're not going to fully fuel it for just a few just because there's no reason to. I think once they actually get to those Starlink flights, then of course they'll fully fuel it because then you got payload on board, so like a full payload. But I think for these initial ones, they won't.
Okay, and Alex here. If I click the right, I don't know if I clicked the right thing. Anyway, they were asking about. Oh yeah, Mars Master is wondering. With the new version of the hot stage ring, it's open. How will that affect the boost backburn? Will they have to do anything special? How will it differ from version 2 ships?
I think that they're talking about the directional flip, right? That they did for the last few flights of version 2. They're just going to be using the differential thrust of the engines on the ship. So the reason why, to backtrack here or wait here for the propellant load, I'm still maybe able to do a bit of a longer answer. But what happened is that when you fire the ship engines, right, and if you just say, okay, engines, fire off, right, and you sort of don't really time, because first they fired the RVACs, then the 3 sea levels, right? And you don't really tell them those two groups light up at different times, just light up, right? There'll be random differences in thrust as they ramp up to power. And so that is essentially what pushes off the booster in a random direction. And that's what happened from flights 1 through 8, or at least 2 to 8, not 1, because 1 didn't have the hot staging. On flight 9, they started with the differential, with the directional flips. Excuse me. And so what that did is they covered one part of the hot staging, so that randomness then turned into a directional flip, right? Because you have all of the exhaust going in sort of random directions, and at the end of the day, the booster sort of goes in whatever way it seems fit, right? Whatever there's like a little bit more push on one side or the other. What happens is that by blocking one part, then you 100% will have a concentration of the thrust in one direction, and that'll flip the booster off in a very controlled manner. However, that was for the previous version. For this version, instead, they're going to tell the engines on the ship, light up, but light up at a different timing. And with that different timing, they will have the opportunity to be able to push the booster in a very controlled manner, so that they don't need to close off any parts of the hot staging ring. And so, the hot staging ring can be clean and be just a truss and smooth and everything. And then in exchange, you just need to tell the engines to ignite differently on the ship. I don't know why they didn't try that for version 2. I think they just kept going with the way that they were going anyways, and just modified the hot staging ring itself. But for version 3, that's essentially what they said they were going to do. So that's what we should expect.
Thank you, Alex. Go ahead,
I'm
Brian.
going to just request something from Jay real quick here. Hey, Jay, can we go to Dune 1 real quick? I want to just point something out here. It's utterly funny. While I'm watching all these vents here. So this vent right here is a off the LOX bleed line for chill down. There is another 6 of them that are kind of running down the line down that way. They're all spaced out. But this one, the one that's circled, is closest to it, and it's just spitting out like liquid oxygen like a cannon. Just kind of doing that. It's really, really funny. It's one of the new vents that they've been using for, like, literally just started using with the new static fire stream. So it's kind of funny. I thought it was funny, worth pointing out. But yeah, I'm waiting for that one to shut off, and then for there's the vent that's right there, which is the box fan vent, and then it's kind of hard to see the vents that are supposed to be like around there for the ship and booster CH4 subcoolers to really, really go. And the vent that's acting like a cannon is blocking the methane reclaim vent as well. It's kind of funny. So I can't tell if it's off or not. But yeah, there's a lot of cool new stuff happening as I'm paying attention to all this venting that's going on. Thought it was
Very
worth
good.
pointing out.
I'm gonna go back and thank some more people. And first off, this community is just incredible. It's just a pleasure to be part of and to be with all y'all here. And your support is just amazing and much appreciated. And we do try to use that to get back and put the money back into the camera so we can continue giving you guys the best coverage we possibly can. Kevin Gibbs, thank you for upgrading to launch director. Oh, that's an awesome level. If you don't have it already, you're in the Discord. And for those who know, we do have a Discord at NASASpaceflight, NSF. If you are a Capcom membership or above, you get that. It's a great forum, a great community there. So if you can swing that, you will not be disappointed. And we got Massive Shenanigans for 5 Red Team memberships. Thank you very much. We've got Pun Token with $10 super chat and a $2 super chat. Another one from Warp Space at I think is $2 super chat. Thank you very much. We've got Anonymous with store message. Total weight of the pad and base. Lots. It's big. Sorry, I don't know if we have that particular answer. We've got Brian with the store message and have the rear purpose Super Draco engines for use on Starship. Might work for final descent tweaks. Super Dracos, I think we've seen those renders of the HLS version, but no, I'll let you guys handle that.
They're much different thrusters. So I know people have kept saying Dracos and Super Dracos and whatever. Those engines will actually have more in common, for example, with a preburner on the Raptors, rather than anything on the Dracos or Super Dracos, because they use Methalox. Those descent engines on the human landing system lander, that is Methalox. They don't use any hypergolics or anything. It is pressure fed. That is true. But they have an ignition system as well, because it's not hypergolic, so they will need an ignition system and things like that. And so it is not something that resembles at all Super Draco or Draco. It may be similar in thrust, ironically, because if you do the math with like 20 to 24 thrusters and the 1/6 gravity of the moon, even though Starship is very big, because there are many thrusters, at the end of the day, it sort of evens out. And it kind of gives you a little bit of like very similar thrust as a Super Draco, but it is not a Super Draco. It's a whole different thing. Just because it gives off the similar thrust. To put it in perspective, Super Draco, I think it also has a similar thrust to the Rutherford engine. It is not the same. Just because it gives off similar thrust, it doesn't mean that it is anywhere remotely the same engine. So yeah.
Very good. Thank you, Alex. Okay, we got Alan. Was going to get one of the last 2 pin sets, missed by that much. Oh, I feel for you. I was lucky enough to get one, and it's incredible. I can't wait to fill it up. They got plenty of space. I need plenty more launches, but thank you for that. We got Jeff Rowe. Jeff, always a pleasure. Glad you're with us again. Gifted 1 Red Team membership. Cody with Super Chat. Thank you very much. Notice purple flashing lights near the first entrance during static fire. I don't know, anybody else? You guys happen to see those, or if they mean anything? I'm not sure what that is.
Purple flashing lights near the first entrance to the stack fire. I don't remember those. Then again, my brain is mush right now. So.
Yeah. We need to clone you, Ryan. We need like 7 of you for all these streams.
Where'd the pad go?
Yeah, it's launch.
Okay.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I was gonna say what's funny is when we originally saw this pad getting built and everything like that, we expected them not to have nearly this much venting, because basically they were recapturing as much as they could, and then during booster testing, SpaceX went, "Nah, watch this." So they made a bunch of LOX cannon vents, and it's turned into a cloaking device. I don't know if it's Romulan or Klingon, don't ask, but it's a cloaking device.
Very good. And we got Nyberg 47. Yeah, military base salvaging, no doubt. I'm sure they have already plans in there. Storm message from Mikhail. Got the pin and now a glass. Yeah, those glasses are great. And thanks to Dan and his daughter. And Dan, I'm sorry, I forget your daughter's name. But they etch those at home. Those are custom made, handmade items in the shop. And if you like glassware, you're going to love those. James, thanks for all the coverage with Storm Message. Cannot wait to see Starship from Florida. You and me both. That's going to be an incredible view there. I'm also looking forward to the transport of a ship from Texas to Florida. Seeing that thing rolling down the road sideways, getting on the barge is going to be just mind-boggling. We got David with Storm Message, getting excited. Keep up the great work. You and me both, David. We got Meta Assassin with this $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Where and what part of the stacking will they load humans? Well, I think that's going to be a long ways off. And maybe Alex, I'll send this one to you. Let's jump ahead in the future 5 years. You've got a Starship on the pad. They're going to send humans on it. At what point do the humans go in?
Prior to propellant load, basically just like Falcon 9, you see the Dragon capsule hatch closes usually at T-minus 2 hours, and then, about hour and a half later, they start loading the Falcon 9, and then they launch. Depending on their operations and whatnot, and how many people they're loading, and all the likes, then it might be later, it might be sooner, and it depends on what sort of thing. But just like with Falcon 9, we've already seen this game with them. It's already a trick that we already know. So yeah, it's just load before they load the propellant. And how they will do that, just another arm, just like the QD arm. You can see there. It reaches out to the ship.
That's going to be a very interesting arm to design, because it's going to have to go like near the top of the tower, like line up with the payload bay.
And yet it might be less complex than the QD arm.
Yeah,
because the QD arm has to carry all the cryogenic stuff.
Still going to be a fun one to design. Well,
yeah, but that's just a geometry problem. They might need to walk a little bit more and whatnot. The access arm for SLS on the mobile launcher, it actually starts on the back of the mobile launcher. The crew access the arm on the back, and then they have to walk the entire way to the, because it's sort of from the left of the tower. Then they have to walk all the way to the front and then to the side of Orion. Like, it's a really long walk, but they make it work. It's just a geometry problem at the end of the day. And, there might still be some conduits for like AC for air conditioning and whatnot, like we see, for example, on the Dragon one, and also the SLS crew access arm. But other than that, it's just a geometry problem. It's probably way easier than the quick disconnect arm, because you don't have any of the chill downs, any of the vents, any of the... You might have some electrical systems and some, air conditioning units and whatnot, some fans and whatnot. But other than that, it's just an access board. It's not going to be this hugely complicated thing that also wouldn't need to, it wouldn't need to retract at liftoff or anything. You just put it sort of on the side already well before propellant load starts, just like on Dragon, right? So I don't know. It probably might even be easier. It's just a geometry problem at the end of the day.
Okay, we got Scotty. I need some stinking patches. Yes, we need stinking patches. You don't need stinking badges. We don't need no stinking badges. I'm sorry for butchering Treasure of the Sierra Madre for you guys. Why? We got a super chat from Alex. Why is Alex always negative? Light up. No, Alex is great.
I'm negative. No.
Wait. No, that's me.
I don't even know in which way. I've just talked about loading crew on Starship.
No,
when we have
good,
people
guys.
in chat that they don't even think they're gonna be launching crew at all. So just saying, I'm not even the less optimistic.
Yeah, no, that's what's great about this group. I mean, we're not all in lockstep. We all have differing opinions. We have thoughts, and we're all good to discuss it. Okay, we got Peter Moss, 4666. I say we have a couple of ship catches by the end of the year, ramping up to launch cadence. is asking about the SpaceX purchase of land in Louisiana. What's going on with that? I don't know, Ryan, you got any
yeah, that-
info on that?
Louisiana purchase.
Yeah, did we get that from France?
Yeah, is SpaceX buying that from France? No, I think they're actually buying it from ExxonMobil. Legitimately, I think it actually is going to be from ExxonMobil. But anyways, basically, it's a 200 square mile plot of land, which, when you think about it, that's gigantic compared to what they have at Starbase. And like, I'll just say this: that plot of land is more than all of Cape Kennedy, half of Merritt Island, including the shuttle landing strip, and including the Port Canaveral. It's more than all of that combined. So it's a lot. But they could have a massive buffer zone between civilization and their launch site. Do a full on like launch site production complex, gigabays. Do a bunch of SSO launches from there. They could build terrafab there if they wanted to. It's just right in the middle of a really hurricane-prone area, and the engineering to fill all that in would be kind of fun, because it's all marshes and swampland, and Louisiana is kind of pretty lax on the regulatory side of things, so that kind of helps them too. So overall, long-term goals for Starship, it makes sense. It would just be a very long-term project to be able to have to build something down there. It'd take a while.
But that also shows the long-term commitment, right? That
Yeah.
they're obviously thinking way long-term. Not to state the obvious, but already Starbase is, thinking long-term. That Louisiana project might even be even longer term, right? Like potentially more launch sites, more factories and whatnot. You've got a big, massive area where you can build so many things, and they can do so many stuff out there. So, basically way longer term commitment here than what they already have.
Right, we got Ronald bought something for store. Appreciate that. Been watching since Starhopper. Yeah, Starhopper is the bomb. If you get down there, you always got to pay a pilgrimage to Starhopper. Arianespace and JNO giving me IFT3 Wet Dress Rehearsal vibes. Yeah, it's looking a lot like that. Anonymous, ship looks so cool at night. Yeah, this somebody said it in chat, and I don't know who did. I miss it. It's Rocket Noir, so in black and white. Anonymous again. What are the 4 towers? Well, my friend, there's only 2 here, but there's going to be 4 in Florida, I believe, if not more. So I'll answer it that way. Peter Moss, opinion about rumors about SpaceX land in Louisiana. We just covered that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Tibbetinen, Super Chat, need to remove air to fill the CH4 dome. No straw. I'm not sure what that is. So, but anyway, thanks for the Super Chat. Dale.
That's to remove, you had to remove the bullet off methane gas to fill all the way to the top of the dome. That's right. It's just SpaceX didn't do that during their wet dress rehearsal, which means I don't think they meant to. I don't think they were going to fill all the way to the top of the dome. But I do remember during their cryo test, we got a frosty dome, though.
Yeah. They may just not want to have a fully... They don't need it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's already way much. The ship is, by all means, pretty much empty on this flight, right? Even if it carries a few satellites. Again, we said earlier, the end goal is to carry 60. Even if it carries 10, that's a 6 of the payload. It's not fully loaded at all. It's a very light payload by comparison, right? So, yeah, plenty of performance.
Gonna mix this one in for you guys. First is there any risk of detonation with what's currently venting? And then following that, where do we stand in our count?
Well, for venting, it's all LN2 and LOX right now that they're venting off. They aren't really venting off any methane at this point. They're trying to reclaim it at this point in time. And as for in the countdown, I don't know. I would have expected them to start loading by now. We're about 1.5 hours after the start of the reclaim vent. That started at 7:50, almost an hour and a half. So maybe they start loading in another 5 minutes. Maybe the chill down for a full stack is an hour and a half instead of an hour, because it was only an hour for chill down for the booster wet dress. So either they're spacing it out for a launch, or for some reason maybe they ran into an issue and they're working through it. I don't really know what they're doing right now, but as of right now, everything is still in chill down mode. And I don't see any signs of that they're actually loading anything yet. But we're just kind of waiting to see, because I kind of expect a lot of the excess venting, like the methane or reclaim vent gets kind of hidden behind stuff. The one that's right there, I expect that to shut off, and then I expect like the I'm gonna call them the LOX cannon vents. I kind of expect those to shut off at some point here, because you're not gonna want to vent the bleed line out when you're trying to load onto a vehicle. So those will all should completely shut off and just kind of peter out. And then the subcooler vents should really, really engage. So I'm waiting for that to happen to truly say, yep, we're into prop load. And I don't think I've really seen that yet. So
It's also important to. What?
methane reclaim just got a ton of pressure behind it.
Ooh.
Maybe that's a sign?
Let's see. I was going to mention that, three different things. First, it's the first time we're seeing all of this, right, in full stack configuration. They have not done a wet dress rehearsal or any kind of loading propellant sort of test on a full stack on pad 2. So this is the very first time for us as well to get to know what sorts of things to see and expect. Second, sometimes they also hold a little bit before they load propellant, right? They keep it chilled down. We've seen in the past, even with pad 1 status, right? Like we've seen this quite a few times. And third is that when you combine both of those, then it can also throw off some of our estimates, because we've only seen the booster side of things. And Ryan, you were saying that there's also some new stuff as well?
Yeah, the LOX cannon vents are basically new. They're new as of the last 33 engine static fire. Those were not there when they did the first attempt of a 33 engine. There's also that those are replacing. So if you remember, Alex, there was a vent that was going over the blast wall, just a line that kind of went over the blast wall and went down onto the concrete. Yeah, that vent is replaced by the cannon vents. So when they originally did chill down on booster, they didn't have any of those excess venting, and I guess they realized after the first set they needed a way to vent off more oxygen, and they couldn't reclaim it as quick as they thought they could, and they needed a way to vent it off more. So they included that vent for chill down and for detank. It's off the LOX bleed line. Well, apparently, after they used that in the next set of testing, they realized that wasn't enough either, and then they went and added the LOX cannon vents. So they have made changes. They even added an extra valve to the booster CH4 subcooler vent, because they wanted a more ability to control the pressure coming off of the LN2 exhaust pressure coming off those subcoolers. That's how they control the subcooling for the methane there. So they've made a lot of changes while messing with the booster. The ship. So you may think, well, they're going to have to make a lot of changes with ship after they test this. Well, yes and maybe no. Over at Massey's is a subscale version of kind of what they're using here, more or less. So they can learn from that for this. But there's always the chance that after this, they go ahead and make changes to the ship side. And then when they go to restack both these vehicles, they may do a tanking test after that again. It would not shock me if they do that, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
And I got to give an apology out. I think I can't walk and chew gum at the same time, folks. So there was Dale who came here and bought some stuff from the shop, and for his nephew whose birthday's coming up. So Dale, hopefully your nephew has a great birthday. Happy birthday from all of us here at NSF. Hope it's a great one for the young man.
Roger.
Yes.
as I was just talking about those LOX cannon vents, I think they're going down a little bit. Methane reclaim vent's still going, though. I'm waiting for that, because when that shuts off, that's a good sign of methane loading. And then especially when you see the methane subcooler vents go nuts. But I'm waiting to see that box fan really, really kick in at this point. Of course, trying to do A/B testing. I haven't seen it really, really get a bunch of pressure behind it yet, but we could be close to loading. Could be. I'll wait and see. I'll interrupt you if I think we are.
By all means. And for those of you who have seen previous booster tests, when this thing loads, it loads fast. You visibly can watch the frost go up the vehicle. It's quite awesome. Alex, got Steve Hockey's asking here, Hockley, apologize for that. This profile is going to take a more southerly route. Is that for any particular reason, minimize cross-range maneuvers, or why are they going farther south than they did previously?
Well, the southern flights actually opened them one of. I'm gonna backtrack here a little bit. So they have technically 3 different shells that they can use for Starlink satellites, and they have only used 2 of them. One at 43-degree inclination, and another at 53-degree inclination. Right? We've seen those all the time from Florida, from Vandenberg. You know, we've covered those launches. Sometimes even from both coasts as well. But they've never used the one for 33 degrees, which is the 3rd unused shell for that for the Starlink constellation. And one of the things is, first of all, they recently changed like a year and a half ago that to 32 degrees, and you can access that 32 degree by flying between the Yucatan and Cuba. Basically, that southeast flight trajectory that they're trying on Flight 12. They also have approval in the future, perhaps, to also do an overflight of Florida between Jacksonville and Orlando, basically. So like launching out of Starbase, but instead of straight east between Florida and Cuba, you fly a little bit more north, and then you fly in between Jacksonville and Orlando. And then you also get sort of 32-degree orbit. So it's sort of like the mirror view of the southern trajectory that they're doing for Flight 12. And those 2 trajectories, they will be able to launch these Starlink satellites into that kind of orbit. And we've recently heard as well, or saw on some of the Artemis 3 contracting processing and whatnot, that if they launch to a low Earth orbit on Artemis 3 with Orion, that'll also be a 33 degree inclination orbit, which can also be accessed by the southern flight trajectory. I think it's got more to do with that in the future they're going to be trying those out than the reentry itself, because the reentry, especially when you've got a ship that's supposedly able to do 48 hours of coast, basically in orbit, then you can just enter either on a southeast to southwest to northeast reentry corridor, or a northwest to southeast corridor, right? It depends which way you're coming down to Starbase and whatnot, but at the end of the day, all that matters is more like the launch itself, because you can just loiter for a little bit longer and just wait until you are sort of on the other side of that reentry, and you'll get the other reentry type.
Very good. We got Nor's Mythics 90 question concerning boil off. How will fuel ox be protected on a trip to Mars? I have my Kerbal way I'd love to do it. I'd love to see them put a James Webb sun shield on one of the vehicles, because that keeps it. I mean, you think about it, James Webb, they got to keep that thing down to 1 or 2 degrees Kelvin. I don't know. That's probably far-fetched and very Kerbalish. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I would think it's probably going to be some kind of insulation, maybe a shield. There's definitely a couple of different ways they can do it. I don't exactly know what their plan is in the long run, to be honest. I think it's just going to be kind of wait and see, on my part at least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that'll be a challenge. I'm sure they've got all their engineers working on this as we speak. I mean, this stuff they got to get figured out, and sooner rather than later. So we'll leave it to SpaceX, see what they come up with. They might totally surprise us here. Okay, going to go back to some super chats. And again, folks, you don't have to give us money. We appreciate it. We'll take it. But just like and hit the like button on occasion. Subscribe. That helps. It helps keep the spam channels down some. It moves up to more on the search engine, all that analytics and stuff that goes into it. So we appreciate you. One, just being here and watching and hanging out with us for this whole everything we're watching here, this historic system, and not only here but in Florida, Blue Origin, and all the other vehicles that are going up, and all the other spaceflight stuff. Go ahead, Ryan. What you got?
Power event just went back on a lot more than it has in the last like almost hour. Like it's been like petering for like an hour, and now it's gone not like full tilt again, but it's definitely started to pick back up again. The box fan's starting to go a little bit more. The cannon vents are starting to slow down. The booster CH4 subcooler vent's starting to pick back up again, but it's not like it's got a bunch of pressure behind it, like it's subcooling a lot of prop for a prop load. And the reclaim vent's still running. So this could be like pad 1. Oh, well, there's the booster CH4 vent. We might be into prop load.
Oh,
for booster.
So could that be top of the hour for simulated T0?
Could be. We might be in a prop load for booster at least. Because the ship has a separate CH4 vent. So I'm gonna take a look to see when it starts. The Dune camera is like really, really helpful these days. It's great. Love it. It's absolutely amazing. Because you can actually discern which vent's which. Let's see here. Yeah, so we'll have to wait and watch and wait for the tower vent to shut off, and that might be our indication for ship load then. As it usually is, at least lock side.
All right, we'll definitely keep an eye on that. Got, again, Warlength, thanks for the super chat, appreciate it. I think we talked about this before about plan for doorway in the HLS system. Yeah, as far as we know, it's going to be a larger one. There's going to be an elevator going down. I think NASA even has some concerns about that, but we're anxiously waiting. Hopefully we'll see some version of that vehicle come out of one of the bays soon. I'm definitely curious how that will be. Go ahead, Alex.
And it's worth noting that what you may think about is like the cargo version of HLS, and that's not slated until like 2032, even with the, super duper ignition event that we got from Jared last month. I think it was last month or the previous one, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, that will be in the 2030s, which is essentially what I meant by, we will not see a big door probably in this decade. The one for the regular HLS is rather small. In fact, I will argue that the doors for the rollout solar arrays are actually probably larger in unison. Like when you add up the size of those 5 doors for the solar panels for HLS, rather than the the small one for like the hatch and whatnot for them to get down to the surface. But yeah, small openings. That's a problem. The big openings on the side of the ship are a problem structurally to reinforce and blah blah. It's not easy to design that sort of door, and they've got bigger priorities right now.
We got a quick one from Corrupted. You're wondering, did they do the wet dress rehearsal already? No. Just to catch people up, they have not. We're in the middle of it. We believe that prop load is starting, or if not, it's going to be starting shortly. So keep your eyes open. We'll definitely give a shout out when we see the next maiden event, which should be prop load. Let's see, Arthur for $15 super chat. Thank you. I think HLS will rendezvous with Artemis and also be unmanned for demo landing. As far as I know, it would be it's definitely going to be unmanned for Artemis 3. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, they need to do a landing demo, a lunar landing demo as part of the requirements of the contract. Is that correct?
So, okay, yeah, the HLS rendezvous. So basically, The HLS they send up for Artemis 3, after they do all the low Earth orbit docking and stuff, if it's a fully completed HLS, you might as well just refuel the thing and send it to the moon for your unmanned demo landing, rather than make another one, right? That's what I think they'll do.
That would be way cool. Okay, and we got Corey Martin with a super sticker. Thank you very much for the support. Anonymous got something from the store. Can't wait for the ship. You bet. We can't wait for that. Robert Wilton, hopefully we've answered your question already. Yeah, we're hopefully getting close to prop load. Bloomus, thank you very much. Becoming a launch director. Again, if you hadn't been in Discord before, you definitely are now. And reminder, if you want to be on Discord, it's an awesome place to hang out with a bunch of other space nerds. If you get Capcom level or above, you automatically get into the Discord server. Got anonymous. Quiet Storm has never left your side from Can through Hoppy today. Thank you very much, anonymous. Appreciate that, and thanks for. Hope we got something good from the store. And once again, Patrick Bob, you're killing us. Thank you for the 20 Red Team memberships. Always a pleasure, and thank you very much. You're a very generous person. And Diane Cornelius up to Capcom. Great. Now you're in our Discord. Appreciate it. Matthew, 1 year in NSF membership, love every second. You bet. Oh my God, this is such a cool place. Again, what makes this not only watching the rockets, but you all out there. This community is just amazing, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're doing this. We're answering questions. You come in any time of the day. You ask a question on here, any type. We got folks in here. They're very knowledgeable. They help you out. They'll teach you. They'll answer your questions. It's a very, very supportive community. We got Brad got something from the store. Thank you very much. Nadi with super chat.
Venting.
Very
much.
Yeah, maybe getting ready for loading the methane tank, right?
Yeah,
is that both tanks or just the methane tank? I can only see the.
It's both tanks venting.
Oh, interesting.
Is ship venting too?
It's hard to see.
Just do a couple more here. Heartland, I got something from the store. Thank you. I hope you enjoy his patch. Looks like maybe. Hope you enjoy that. They're great. And Cameron Zaucha gifted 20 Red Team memberships. So if you got one of those, please thank Cameron out there, and hope you'll enjoy all the new member content. So I've got a question here from Lewis the Raptor. Where's Ship 39 supposed to end up on this flight? I don't know, Alex or Ryan, if you want to take that. I mean, before it's been like the Indian Ocean. Do we have anything more definite on the flight plan yet?
Same place, Indian Ocean. It's gonna be slightly bit more north, I think, in this case, and the sort of angle of the re-entry corridor. So they've got like re-entry notices. It's a little bit more like a tail at the end, because they're probably gonna do some kind of very, very weird and wild maneuver like they did on Flight 11 with Ship 38, where they sort of turned and did sort of like a heading alignment cone of sorts, like back in the shuttle era. But yeah, it's just gonna be the Indian Ocean. I hope it is not the Gulf, that's for sure, because then it will be a really bad day.
Yeah, we've got 9/8 Central. Hey, it sounds like you're in my time zone. Were the Raptor version 3 engines for Ship 39 tested without the vacuum optimized nozzles at McGregor? I don't know, maybe Ryan, if you take that, or when they test the Raptor 3s that are supposed to be the vacuum Raptors, do they have the nozzles on them, or is there any special accommodation they have to make for those?
They have the nozzle on them, and they have a bracket, basically, or a tie down that they put around the nozzle and tie it to a fixture. It's the Raptor RVAC braces. It's because if they were to try to fire those at sea level without the brace on, they might shake and destroy the nozzle. So they put a brace on it so that the nozzle will stay intact when they fire it at sea level. But Yep, they have the nozzle extension on them and everything when they go to fire at sea level. It's one of the reasons why the ship static fire stand has to have posts where the RVAC nozzle braces have to attach to, because when they go to static fire ship, they have to, put those braces on the RVACs as well.
Very good. And Alex, I got a question from the space enthusiast. As far as apogee of these flights, it's usually a few hundred kilometers, isn't it? Or wait, do you have the exact information as how high it goes?
We don't really know exactly. It sort of varies from flight to flight. We do know that per the communications permit, they sort of give like a ceiling, so to speak, right? But it doesn't mean it's going to reach that altitude. It just means that it's going to stay below that altitude. But exactly what sort of the height, we don't know. The latest documentation showed like no more than 350 kilometers in altitude during its trajectory, and something is venting in the meantime. But it doesn't mean that it's going to reach that altitude. It just means that it's going to stay below that altitude. It could be 200 kilometers. It could be 150, 250, whatever. In between, hopefully more than 100 and less than 350, basically. But yeah, that's anywhere in between.
And then Taylor Wilson is wondering, where do we stand in Starbase? Are they approved for 25 launches a year? Not that they're going to get to that anytime soon, but do we know what the max is currently for Boca Chica launches?
They're approved to 25 in Starbase. They have 44 at 39A, and I think it's like 76 over at like 37. It's like 146 total or something like that. And whatnot. So we'll have to see. They'll probably ask for more at some point. But I gotta say, looking at this boost, looking at the stack right now, that vent earlier, it wasn't that. It was long, but it wasn't incredibly long. I don't know if that was them depressing the tanks or something. Maybe. It kind of looked like they went to activate the CH4 side for prop load, and it didn't take. At least on the booster side is what it looked like they tried to do. The box fan hasn't really picked up a ton. The methane reclaim vent's running right now, and the tower vent has died off a lot, and they're kind of venting the booster and ship. It makes me wonder if they're in a bit of a hold while they're trying to recycle something. It kind of has that feeling at the moment. But we're just gonna wait and see here to see what they're gonna do. But I think they're in some kind of hold. Maybe they tried to prop load and couldn't, and maybe they're gonna try again or something along those lines. We'll have to wait and see here.
We'll definitely keep our eyes peeled. We got Rick Trayer is saying Pad 1 looks so sad. It's left only with blinking lights. Well, yeah, but think about where we were. We had Flight 11 from that thing, and all the changes that happened. The OLM's gone. The legs are gone. The concrete's going in there. You've got the structure, the metalwork that we saw originally that's on the current OLM going up. They're making a heck of a lot of progress. Plus, they're expanding the whole launch area itself. So it's like, if you want to see bulldozers and excavators, this is the place to go, along with cranes and trucks and tankers. So yeah, it's also fun watching how that's being built. And if you watch our Space Coast Live, we're definitely keeping good tabs on what's happening at 39A and at Roberts Road and with all the other towers that it's going to be going. So we'll thank Kenneth White, upgraded to Red Team. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy that. We got Anonymous. I hope we got something from the store. Hope so. Love NSF. Go Flight 13. Okay. Carol Boa Morte has got a Red Team membership. Thank you for getting that. You're going to enjoy the perks. William, thanks so much coverage this week. Can't help keep up. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been nuts this week, hasn't it? We've gone from booster rollout, static fires, testing, ships rollout. We've had skates put on the chopstick carriage. After not seeing a vehicle out there, it's just so much fun. I mean, the excitement is really building. Anxiously waiting to see what SpaceX says when they think they're going to be able to do Flight 12 here. And we got Michael with the store. Got something from the store. Appreciate that. Does Ship 39 have holes in the TPS on one half of the nose cone. Not sure about that. Alex, do you know about anything
There's only
about
one.
one?
There's only one tile missing, as far as we know. Or at least as far as I know, because I looked at all the pictures of the ship. There's only one tile missing. And it's actually not visible at all, unless you zoom in. All of the white dots that you see are actually just tiles that are like colored differently. But they're tiles. There are no holes there.
Very good. Okay, we got Nyberg 47, new member, become pad rat. Great. Hope you'll enjoy all the stuff you get with being membership. Jeff, thanks NSS. Go Starship is super heavy. Wet Dress Rehearsal and Flight 12. You bet. We're right there with you, buddy. We got Keo Boamorte again with a super chat. Appreciate that. Again with a super chat. Thank you very much. You're very generous. Charles Galuli, gifting 10 Red Team memberships. Well, thank you, Charles. That's very generous of you. I hope everybody that got those will enjoy the memberships. Jordan got something from the store. Appreciate it. It looks like maybe a patch here. So excited for this launch. Thanks for all the coverage. It's our pleasure. We just, again, all of us here at NSF, we have a passion as much as you guys do for space flight and all this. It's just a thrill and an honor to be part of this great team. Paul, store message, I'm thinking a patch, you got the full dozen. Well, way to go. Appreciate that you got all 12 of them. Thanks to NSF. I'm new, but loved listening to you and learning all the time. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We welcome everybody. Like I say, you're more than welcome anytime we're on, but you've come into Starbase Live or one of the other streams and you got questions, just ask them. We got some really cool people that are out there always hanging out, and they'd be more than happy to help you out. We also generally have mods and camera operators almost 24/7 going here. And I say, come on in, pull up a seat.
Boy.
Go ahead.
You boy.
Breaking news. We got cars on the roadblock at the LBJ intersection.
Yep. That the only reason they would go back there is if they basically didn't intend to prop load this thing right now. I am pretty confident to say they tried to prop load and had some kind of abort somewhere. And they're now safing. They say they're safing the vehicle in the pad at the moment. So
yeah, and to be precise here, so the reason why we think this is because these cars in particular, when they are getting ready for loading propellant, they move up the road. They get away because the blast danger area reaches this roadblock. So they move away and they're back. And if they're back, and also now we see depress there on the quick disconnect, you can see on the arm there. If they move back, that is not a great sign. Because whatever they mean to do, it's definitely not reaching that area. Like, I want to stress this because I saw some people in chat saying, well, duh, there's a roadblock, there's a test going on. No, hang on, because what happens during a wet dress rehearsal is that they move away, and they went away, and they went back, right? Like, they moved away, what, 2 hours ago or something like that, right? And they're back. So that is not a great sign. That's the point that we're trying to make.
Well, nuts. Well, we'll keep an eye on this, hope and see what happens here. Let's stay tuned. I mean, it's SpaceX. We've seen them do other wacky stuff here. Let me go back and thank some more people here. We've got Brendan, got your patch, need a Texas Tank Watcher tee. Yeah, those are pretty cool. So I hope you enjoy that. Jared, going to see my first launch in the roof of the Holiday Inn. See y'all there. Jared, assuming this is your Starship launch, it's incredible. It's really, really hard to describe when this vehicle goes. You tell people...
Ooh, that vent. That's new.
Which one?
The one on the QD arm.
I was talking about that earlier.
Oh, sorry. I came
I
back.
can get back at you now. Yeah. It's been going on for like a few minutes. I think the ship is now venting as well.
Must be a depress vent on the arm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we can see. I at least see some vents on the methane tank of the ship. But yeah, can we say already the word or sort of the expression? This is why we test all the cliche
You know,
expressions.
it's all new. I mean, this is the first time they've actually tried to load a ship on here, and they find something. I mean, this
There we go.
is the most complex vehicle ever created, and it's all new. It's amazing. We were talking before, loading 5,000 tons of cryogenic fuel into this thing in 30 minutes. The pipe fitters, so shout out to them to make this happen. But yeah, it's new. It's testing. It's still good on the pad, so they'll figure it out, and we'll probably go again.
So about those launch dates.
Yep.
Yeah. So about those launch dates.
Yeah, if
Yeah,
I
well-
already was skeptical about a May 15th launch, I'm gonna say, yeah, doesn't inspire me with confidence.
I
It
just don't
doesn't
want them
fill
to
me
do
with
it
confidence.
tomorrow.
Whatever.
I don't want them to go to tomorrow. Please, like, at least delay it till Monday or later.
You know they're gonna try.
I don't want them to.
Well, we definitely keep
I'm
an eye on
busy
the road.
tomorrow. Okay. I want them to do it tomorrow.
Well, we'll send a postcard to SpaceX and have them work around your schedule, Ryan. I'm sure they'll accommodate.
Thank you,
They're very,
Roger.
very accommodating folks over there.
I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. And back to you, Jared, as far as seeing the launch. I've been fortunate enough. I got to see all of them. And that's not really a flex. It's just, I don't know how I lucked into this. But anyway, when you see this thing go, you feel it. It goes through you to your bones. We try to describe it. I talked to people on our team that go down for the first launch to try to describe it. I talked to them right after, and they said, did I describe it at all? Could I describe it? He said, no, you couldn't. You have to experience this, and you're going to love it. It's such a great show. Let the Raptors Loose from John. Got something from the store. Appreciate that. Matt O'Titan became a PadRat member. Thank you very much. Now he's saying the purple flashing lights are visible far left of the pad from long shots from the west. Not sure what that was, but thank you for the super chat on that. Had HLS hiding in Star Factory. We'll have an in-flight engine relight question. I would imagine the ship is going to do a relight. I think they did a testing of that, the last one. I don't know, Ryan or Alex, if you have any opinions on that, if they'll do a ship relight test.
Well,
I would expect they.
Go ahead.
You
Ryan.
would, I was gonna say I would expect them to do one. It'd be the first time with Raptor 3. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a relight test during coast phase. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Okay, we got Banjo 1014 the super chat. Thank you very much. When we'll see a ship and booster transferred to Kennedy, guesstimates on launch from Florida. I'll take this maybe, I think hopefully later this year, maybe third quarter, we will, see the ship and the booster go again. That's going to be just awesome sight to see those things. It's amazing to see them when they're vertical. Watching them go horizontal is just going to be nuts. When's it going to fly? Maybe this year. I don't know. We'll see about that. Go ahead.
The topset booster, this is probably full depress vent on the booster, but the other thing is the cops at Richardson have left. So if we were going to think they were going to recycle tonight, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like that's all she wrote for tonight, but well, again, we'll just keep an eye on it and see what happens here, and thanks for sticking with us, folks here. We got Schnitza Hazel have a question. If someone wants to launch larger payloads like a space station piece, will they have a fairing like Neutron or a more standard fairing like Falcon or doors like the space shuttle? I'm leaning, I think we talked about this earlier. I think we're probably leaning more towards doors for the larger payloads. And correct me, and this is maybe another question, but I'm going to ask on this for you guys. In the nose, we got the header tanks in the nose still, correct? And if that's the case, will the docking port for Artemis 3 still be in the nose, and how will it impact the header tanks?
Well, they won't be on the nose. That's how it'll impact.
Yep.
they'll probably be in the tanks. If they need header tanks, we don't know. But if they need header tanks, they can just be in the main tanks. They've had that before with, you remember the SN era with SN8, 9, etc. The methane header tank was inside of the main methane, technically at the bottom of the main methane tank. So yeah, I mean, why not? Just put in the main tanks.
Cool.
Technically, the header tank for liquid oxygen on the booster is also inside of the liquid oxygen tank. It's not like separate or, on the top or anything. It's obviously not on the top because we're looking here at the top of the booster and it's not there. It's inside of the tank. So yeah, just like that.
Yeah, and that downcomer transfer tube, however I'm going to butcher that. I mean, that thing's like a Falcon 9 size, right?
Yeah, the booster transfer tube. I actually did sort of like back on the envelope sort of math, and it can hold like maybe 12 to 15% of all of the methane of that booster, which is probably enough for boost back and landing. Like, there's a good chance that for boost back and landing, the main tank itself of the methane tank is empty, and they're just running on that transfer tube alone, and that's it. That's how big it is.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, we always see those Falcon 9s going from Florida, and you think about, there's one of those inside this thing. It's mind-boggling. A couple more here. We got Rick Trayer, Super Chat. Thank you very much. Will California ever see a Starship launch? Maybe. I think we're anxiously trying to see if SpaceX is going to do any kind of development there, but so we'll just stay tuned for SpaceX.
I was going to joke,
Dylan,
maybe if the guidance systems fail.
Yeah. Would not be good.
No.
Dylan, more patches, questions about the stickers. We'll get stickers for flight 9 through 12, like we did 1 through 4 and 5 through. I believe they're out there. I got stickers for all the flights. They're out there. So take a look. If not, just do the contact in the store for the store people. They monitor that constantly, and they'll be happy to answer your question if you're not seeing them in there. We got Scott for thanks NSF for another one for the collection. Thank you for. It looks like you got a patch. I hope you enjoy that. And thank you very much. And Farron just ordered 2 of the latest Starship patches for 12. We have all of them, and we'll put them on a jacket one of these days. Oh, that's going to look so sweet. So enjoy those, and hope you're gonna be styling with that whole setup. Okay, let's get back to some questions here. We got Misty GT is asking, if something were to happen with one of the 3 engines on reentry for the ship, could the ship still flip and land on 2 engines for the entirety of the landing burn? Alex, would you happen to know if what's the engine out capability on that?
Yeah, if one of the center engines fail, they can land on the other 2. They actually did this on SM-15. One of the engines sort of shut down early during ascent on SM-15, and then it landed on the remaining 2 engines. And it was not even the most optimal 2 engines. It sort of landed a bit skewed when it did the flip, because it was sort of the left, or rather no, the right and top engine. So it's sort of like a triangle with one of the sides sort of like the base on the bottom with a left and right engine, and then like a center engine up top, if you look at it from like the engine section, with the TPS facing down, right? Sort of like belly flop orientation. And it actually landed on the one on the right and the one on the top. So the one on the left failed. Well, maybe it didn't fail. It was... I don't exactly remember what SpaceX told us about that. It was more like some kind of computer error, I think it was, but it failed basically during ascent, and they did not enable that during the landing burn, and so it landed on the other 2, and it was sort of like a weird sideways sort of landing, and it landed nice. Like it just, it did the whole thing. It actually was the only ship to land back on the SN era. So yeah, they could in theory do that with just 2 engines.
Okay. I'm seeing some questions about beach closure, like for tomorrow. I think Sunday, it's Mother's Day. I don't know if that counts for a closure. I know Memorial Day will. They won't be able to do anything on Memorial Day and probably that whole weekend. But you guys have thoughts on Mother's Day, if that's a closure?
Think it counts as a holiday under Texas law. I think. So they can't close it tomorrow, which means it would be no earlier than Monday for a retry. So I'd have to go double check to make sure it's 100% accurate, but don't think they can tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, again, it depends on what they find out with their investigation of today's test, and we'll wait for the road closure. So check the Starbase city closure site if you want, and we'll definitely put it out there as soon as we know anything. And the question, I don't know, Ryan, if you want to take this one. I'm wondering if the ship and the booster, when they ship to Florida, you think they're going to have like the fins and the grid fins and the flaps on the vehicles when they go, or are they going to put those on once they get there?
I think they'll do it with fins on and with flaps on. They can tuck the flaps in, and then they can put the booster on its side with the rudder fin facing up. Because then they need a bridge crane and a working gigabay in order to install that stuff. And, well, they won't have one of those at Roberts Road for a little bit. I know they're installing the truss. They're installing the roof trusses on one side, and some of the 450-ton bridge crane rails have showed up. Some of those stuff have showed up, but they still have to put it all together, get all power hooked up, all this other stuff, and they still have to make the work stands for it. So I think they'll ship. I think the boosters and ships that'll ship there will be completed and tested, ready to go on the pad. And then if they have to do an engine swap, they'll probably have a stand. They'll build a makeshift stand for ship, and then of course they'll have to go ahead and they'll have to make an adapter on the pad for ship. So we'll likely see the ship on the launch mount to get static fire, because they don't have anywhere else to static fire it. So yeah, and Alex, you want to see what you found?
I found what you meant. Yeah, so Mother's Day, it is in fact one of those restrictions. So they cannot close the road or the beach on Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th, MLK Day, President's Day, Texas Independence Day, Cesar Chavez Day, Emancipation Day in Texas, Veterans Day, Good Friday, Easter, Father's Day, Mother's Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. So basically all of the major holidays, including tomorrow, Mother's Day. So there you go. I just read the entire list.
At least.
Okay, that's confirmed. Let's see what we got next. Well, we're at this point. I know we haven't made it to the final testing here, but what's your guys' thoughts? What happens to the ship and the booster once they complete a successful wet dress rehearsal? Are they staying there? Are they going back to the production facility for something? If they are, what's going to happen to them?
My expectation is once the wet dress is done, assuming whatever happened doesn't require a destack, I'll just put that caveat in there as well. We don't exactly know why they couldn't prop load or what happened, so there is a chance they destack. We'll have to wait, and we'll watch for where the transport stands go and what happens to ship. But either way, my guess is once the wet dress and this testing is done, both vehicles are going back to the production site for final checkouts and everything like that. The one caveat to that I will say is when they did lift ship, we caught the serial numbers of the engines, and one of the engines was spotted going to the test cell in McGregor in early April, which the timeline doesn't really track for that being installed on the ship for its first static fire. So there's a chance that the ship has had an engine swap, which means it might need to go to Massey's for more testing, but we don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So there's, of course, in and around there, but I am going to be pretty confident and say the 15th isn't going to happen. I myself am pretty dang certain it's not going to happen. With a scrub here, they can't go tomorrow. We'll have to see fixes are going to be made, and the earliest they can probably do it is at least Monday. Although, again, technically, they can't. The funny part is about the PEA that we just mentioned, Alex, is technically speaking, they can't go Monday because they have to give a 48-hour notice for beach closures. But
okay, one thing is, respecting the whole thing of like, don't close the beach on, Labor Day or Memorial Day or Mother's Day and that sort of thing. The other one about 48 hours, SpaceX doesn't really care that much about that
They
one.
ignore that all the time. Literally all the time they ignore that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we will see. Yeah, it's interesting holidays. Somebody's making a joke about how many holidays we have in the U.S. Well, yeah, we do. Anyway, if you haven't checked it out already, folks, in our store, now that we have a full stack, we've got patches, we've got pins, we've got glassware, we've got all kinds of good stuff. We got shirts, T-shirts, sun shirts, and all kinds of great stuff in there. So please check out our store. You're going to find all kinds of stuff there. You're going to find stuff from Artemis, all previous flights, thrust collection shirts. I highly recommend the Hawaiian shirts. Those things are very cool. They come in all kinds of colors. I actually had a family get together here this past month or so, and I gave all my sisters and brother-in-laws Hawaiian shirts, and we were styling in those. So check it out. Some really cool stuff. We got a great shop team. Shout out to Lindsay, who keeps this thing going. She does just a wonderful job keeping us informed, keeping all this stuff happening. And at any time, if you have any issues with your shop orders, just contact them inside the webpage. They monitor this thing constantly. They'd be more than happy to work out whatever issue that happen to be with you. Okay, going forward, we got looking into the future. I want you guys putting on your crystal balls here. Alex, I'll start with you. Is still a possibility for a 35-engine booster and a 9-engine ship?
Oh, the 35-engine booster thing.
No, they haven't. There's no. So 35 engines on the booster, no. 9 engines on the ship, yes. So 9 engines on the ship will happen on version 4.
The 35-engine booster thing is just because I just want to say this: just because it's stated in the environmental impact statement doesn't mean it's going to be reality. Just look at the plans for Slick 37, the layout, and look at the diagrams they used in Slick 37. They are still using the old launch mount and the old renders from like 2019. So just because it says it in the AS doesn't mean it's reality. That's all I'll say with that.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, for those of you that are on the texting for Boca Chica, the county of Cameron County down there was a text that just went out that the beach is opening up. So that looks like that's going to be it for tonight as far as for testing. So we'll be keeping an eye on the cars to make sure, if they go in. So we'll be probably wrapping this up here pretty quick. I appreciate you all for being here. It's, again, always wonderful. It's always learning experience here, watching the this vehicle and the whole development that's going on down there. So we're going to say goodbye to you all here, but first I want to thank very much to Ryan Weber. Thank you so much for being here with all your knowledge.
Pleasure as always, Roger. I was about to say Chris in my head. I don't know why. It's been a long couple of days. We're just gonna go with that way. But it's a pleasure as always. It's always fun to cover Starship. I was hoping and I was excited to see a fully frosty Starship tonight. But of course, it's the first time they have a ship hooked up to the tank farm. Scrubs happen. We'd rather they scrub than an explosion. Scrub, not RUDs. It would not be great if they had an issue or like a really big issue that caused, months delay. So we don't want that. So take their time, do it right. And hopefully in the next couple of days, whenever, we'll see what happens with the stack and we'll see what happens with the wet dress rehearsal.
And Alex, as always, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, always a pleasure. And, a friendly reminder to everyone watching that, well, they got some issues today to fix, right? It's very likely that because of that restriction of no, closures on Mother's Day, probably tomorrow they will not test. So possibly the earliest might be Monday. We will keep a close eye on the City of Starbase website for closures of the beach and things like that, right? Any sort of modification or changes to that, We'll put it out on our social media. We will be like we're only closing the commentary stream, the dedicated commentary stream. We're still live on Starbase Live. We do our Raptor radio sort of thing, right? Where it's like short update and things like that. Those will probably also include that whenever there's an update to the beach closures and things like that. So you keep track of that. You definitely not miss when we come back. And of course, you know, we're going to be live for whenever they attempt again a wet dress rehearsal. So just, you know, making sure that I emphasize with everybody in chat that keep an eye out for all of the things because they're going to attempt it at some point. And so, yeah, but I'm happy to be here anytime.
Awesome. And I hope you guys will both do me a real big favor. Get some sleep, for gee whiz.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys get a break, get some food, and rest up.
It's already 5 a.m. here.
My plan is to watch the third period of Avs versus Colorado, and then write one last thing for Starship update because, well, they scrubbed here, and then sleep, and then go see family tomorrow. That's my plan right now. I don't know what anyone else's is, but that's me for the next like 24 hours.
Very good. And I also thank for Pizza, who's been running the cameras down here, one of our great SBL ops. And I got to do this because my SBL guys, they're the bomb. I also see down there, I see D, Eric, Jake, Jerry, Matt, and Rick. I see you guys hiding out down there, helping out. We'll talk to you later. And none of this happens without Jay. Jay, thank you very much, producer extraordinaire. And with that, I'm Roger. Thanks for putting up with me today, and it's been fun. Take care, everybody.
Avs versus Wild. I'm an idiot.
We're going to close on that.
Yes, I am.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did you just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be nominal.
We did have an observation. 343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No!
Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. We don't need any more of these.